Anyone here catch the music stream last night? All the goddamn bangers in the Banjo-Kazooie OST. You all missed out. You did. You did. You know the bop. The yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. What's up? Oh, snap, we having a Vosh stream? Yeah, we're actually doing a Vosh stream this time around. Hey, Vosh looking good? You're looking good in that beautiful yellow name, comrade. Looking great. How y'all doing? We have so much to talk about. As always, how much of it will we actually get to? Who knows? We sure don't follow a disciplined schedule around here. Are you excited for Death Stream? I'm always excited for Death Stream. Every time I'm excited for Death Stream. Yeah, I actually saw people arguing in site chat as I came in. I'd love to see that. I love the anger, okay? You all fill me with so much youth and enthusiasm, seeing you all tussle around down there, you know? Arguing about, what was it, anti-white racism? Good stuff. Good stuff. Why does your nose seem stuffy? My nose is always stuffy up here. It's so annoying. God. Well, you know, I'll just have to live with it. Oh, Tempest, I need to watch it myself first. Are you kidding me? Hold on, before we do any stream promos. No anger here. I'm just a dog walking a dipshit. Ah, I see. No anger here at all. No anger here at all. Well, we do have plenty to talk about. How's everyone else doing? You know what the real news is? The real news is the happiness, youth, and vibrance of my community. How are we doing? We're all feeling engaged today? There we go. That's what I like to see. There we go. Yeah, Tom McDonald. Oh, yeah, we got it. Blair White was in Tom McDonald's video. What? Yeah, it's not surprising. You know, this was yesterday, not today, but you all missed Officer Tatum, Channing Tatum. He did a video downplaying the Tulsa massacre on a couple days ago. We looked at that yesterday. Oh my god. There really is no bottom floor, you know? Well, not Channing Tatum, sorry, Brandon Tatum. My bad. Tatum is a fairly unique last name. I'm gonna mix it up, you know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Channing Tatum also believes that. I don't know. You know. I was afraid for a second. Yeah. You know, Channing Tatum, published an op-ed on how the Tulsa massacre didn't actually happen. It was a false flag. Oh God. You say that as if nobody here watched yesterday's stream them out. I'd say probably like a quarter of the people here did. Different time zones, you know. That's how it happens. True. Oh, this rapper is so brave. He refuses to make good music. True. What is this aesthetic? Is this? I really don't know anything about the industry. When I see this, it just reminds me of the Tentacion guy. I don't know. It's like I just look at it and I think Xanax. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, the tiny little dreads and like the face tattoos and the gawking that he's doing a little bit. Doesn't it just look a little Xanaxy? You know what I mean? A little bit. Uh, it looks inherently photoshopped. Yeah, it kind of does. You know. You're not wrong even slightly. Okay. I'll take the W while I'm here, and I won't say anything more because I might accidentally trend to something offensive. We're gonna keep it steady, okay? We're gonna keep it hot and steady above the water, just in case. We don't wanna hit anything bad. Like a meme stock photo, yeah. Breaking news, did you see how a judge overturned the ban on semi-automatic guns in Cali, saying they're comparable to owning a knife? Yeah, the decision for that, or the justification for that ruling was pretty dumb, but California's gun laws are also pretty dumb, so... Hold on, let me take a look at the article. California gun judge. Give me some info. A federal judge who compares an AR-15 to a Swiss Army knife, this is a very stupid statement, overturns California's ban on assault weapons. So, just in case you guys didn't know, assault weapons aren't actually a real thing. There's no designation assault weapons. That's not like a type of weapon. That's not a thing. What if I never fired a gun in California that I owned, certainly not an AR-15. But if I remember correctly, AR-15s in California had this awful attachment that they legally needed to have. Hold on. California AR-15. They had something that made it like really, really, really difficult to grip properly. Yeah, this, I think. I could be wrong, but this is what I mean. See how there's this bit of plastic jutting out from the back of the handle? That means you can't wrap your hand around it. Think about think about the logistics of this for a second. You can't actually put your thumb around the back of the grip. You just have to kind of like sandwich it in the front of the grip, like between your palm and your three fingers, and not the trigger finger, of course, because that's on the trigger. Yeah. This was to do what? Well, the as I understand it, the argument was that this would make it more difficult to commit mass shootings because it made the gun impractical to hold. But what I never understood was, like, if you're gonna do a mass shooting, why wouldn't you take like a $5 hacksaw and just take it off? I never really understood the logic behind that. What does this prevent exactly? Like heat of the moment, crime of passion, AR-15 mass shootings? I don't know if that's a thing. I think when people do mass shootings, I think when people kill other people with AR-15s, it's usually because they've planned to do it for a while. I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah. They also have fixed magazines now. Yeah, there's also some magazine restriction. I've never had to deal with California gun laws for real. Whenever I fired guns in California, I would just go to the range and like get a pistol or whatever. I don't like firing guns that you put the butt up against your shoulder. I don't know. There's some mechanic to it that I'm just not getting, okay? It makes me feel so stupid. I feel like I'm Steve Urkel, you know? Like oh, did I fire that? Like, I don't know. I just feel it's a it's a psychological block, okay, that I need to get over. I don't know. It probably wouldn't be an issue prone, but like standing, it just feels you know, yeah. Yeah, prone shooting with a long gun would be better, I think. Anyway, let's read the ruling, okay? Hold on. No, did I shoot that? You're supposed to lean into it, not just stand there. Yeah, I know that. It's just yeah, I know. Pardon me for not imitating proper long gun firing posture, sitting here in my computer chair with no weapon. Anyway, oh god, actually, yeah, the very first time the the very first time I fired a rifle, I didn't understand why I couldn't get the sights to line up, and I realized I wasn't thinking about it. I had the wrong eye closed. I was leaning into my right shoulder. I had my right eye closed. I was looking into the scope with the eye that I had closed. I didn't even think about it. I was just looking out with my left eye. Okay, that's okay. That was the first time, okay? I just wasn't thinking about it. I did the exact same thing when I first shot. I'm glad it's not. I'm glad it's not just me. Okay. Yeah, left this shooting. All right. All right. Wait. Hold on 1 second. Oh, he's so fucking warm in here. Anyway. In a ruling that compared the AR-15 to a Swiss Army knife, a federal judge overturned California's longtime ban on assault weapons on Friday, ruling it violates the Second Amendment's right to bear arms. Assault weapons have been banned in California since 1989, according to the ruling. I still don't know what assault weapon means in a legal term, because that's not... An assault weapon isn't a type of gun. I don't know what exactly they're referring to there, you know? I genuinely don't. Hold on. What is an assault rifle? What is that? A selective fire rifle that uses an intermediate cartridge and a detachable magazine. Isn't that just like basically any rifle made after World War II? Wouldn't... I mean, that encompasses like that encompasses pretty much every long gun was made after we stopped using like like clips with the that thing, you know? I mean, all right, okay. Assault weapon doesn't equal assault rifle. Oh, true. Wait, what is assault weapon? Hold on. You're right. We're looking for assault weapon, not assault rifle. What is an assault weapon? Are we going to get like selective fire pistols or something? Okay, here we go. Drawing from define sometimes firearms. The definition varies among regulating jurisdictions. Of course it does. But usually includes semi-automatic firearms with a detachable magazine, pistol grip, and sometimes other features like a vertical forward grip, flash suppressor, or barrel shroud. Okay, so it varies from gun to gun, and it basically can mean anything. Okay, yeah, I don't care. Whatever. Anyway, like the Swiss Army knife, the popular AR-15 rifle is a perfect combination of home defense, weapon, and homeland defense equipment. What? Dude. This is a weird way to talk about a gun. Benitez said in the ruling, firearms deemed as assault weapons are fairly ordinary, popular modern rifles. This is true. So, okay, guys, this is what I mean about the difference between supporting gun rights and gun culture, okay? This statement to me is gun rights. Firearms deemed as assault weapons are fairly ordinary, popular modern rifles. And this statement to me seems like gun culture. Like the Swiss Army knife, the popular AR-15 rifle is a perfect combination of home defense weapon and homeland defense weapon. This like LARPy, oh yeah, dude, the AR-15 is the key to defending your home and your country. This to me, like this reads like a gun ad, like I'm reading it out of a magazine, you know? A judge's opinion on this matter should be determined by the law and by the Constitution, not by like some sort of, you know, belief that the gun is necessary to defend. Yeah. I also don't think AR-15s are good for home defense. Yeah, like at all. Why would you ever use an AR-15 rifle for home defense? Like, pardon me, I'm not John Wick or anything like that, but I thought like, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure people use pistols for home defense because using a long rifle in like close quarters combat is generally discouraged. And if you don't live with anyone else, I guess a shotgun is viable because a lot of breadth given on the you know, the firing range. Yeah, if your home is attacked by 50 feral hogs, then even John Wick used a pistol in the home defense scene. Yeah, I can just man, I'm pretty sure that when people defend their homes, they use pistols. Like, if you have a rifle, are you like hip firing it and you like just don't care, or are you like running around like with this against your with like this, and like you're like turning around like hitting the front of the gun against the wall and shit as you turn around or something? Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's possible. It's possible. It's just, again, this seems to me like a decision motivated more by gun culture than by like an approval of the law. The statement that an AR-15 is like a Swiss Army knife is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous statement. They're not even remotely comparable. Yeah. Rifles are also risky to use because there's a huge risk of penetrating your walls and killing. I mean, it depends on the caliber, right? Are there any weapon? There have to be weapons that are like categorized as assault weapons that fire 22 LR, right? I mean, even a 20. No. We shouldn't talk like this. Even a 22 LR round can penetrate drywall through enough to kill somebody in an adjacent home. 100%. That's totally possible. Yeah. This is the reason, by the way, why police officers use hollow point ammunition. The reason why police officers use hollow point ammunition is because the bullet explodes in the first target hit, which makes it less likely to penetrate, which means that it's less likely to go through multiple people, or through walls or whatever. It's a more precise. Lowell Vosh criticizes gun culture, then goes on talking about guns. Wait, what do you think gun culture is? Gun culture isn't knowing about and talking about guns. Gun culture is like this delusional, like chauvinistic, ooh-rah attitude towards firearms, like they're the be-all, end-all, like component of masculinity, home defense, and safety in the world, you know? That's gun culture. And I've never lied to my audience about anything like that. It's the fetishization of firearms. Like, say, for example, that it's like a Swiss Army knife, which is just not. Why would you use an assault rifle besides mass shootings anyway? I honestly don't know. If you want to go down to the range and fire away, fucking go for it, okay? I'm not standing in your way. I just don't like the fetishization of guns. That's the main thing that bothers me more than anything else. Crowder's holsters is the perfect example of toxic gun culture. People who like open carry in public, people who like fetishize firearms as some kind of like necessary component of being a man, which there are tons of people like that, by the way. That shit is super, super cringe. Okay, that's the shit that I have a problem with. If you just own firearms and you shoot them and you're good at shooting them, that's fine. Okay, totally, totally fine. It's good even. All right, well, we've learned today. I hate open carry. It makes people uncomfortable. Open carry is incredibly stupid. Open carry is incredibly... Open carry exists purely to virtue signal or to intimidate people. Now, sometimes it's used with good political intent. Black Panther Party open carried. But that wasn't like just wandering around open carrying. Those were very deliberate political like demonstrations. And all of the Black Panther Party members were trained with firearms. They weren't like crazy fucking rednecks running around with no trigger discipline. They stood there like soldiers, like at attention, you know? You know? You don't like all the I stand behind you in the line memes? Yeah, what is that? Hold on. Where you know those memes where it's like what does this guy think is going to happen at the Dairy Queen? And a guy's like got like 4 guns on him, open carried at like the local fucking ice cream barn or something, you know? Hold on. If I look up like cringe open carry, will I get the image I'm thinking of? What? Is this real? Oh God. I hate this country. This has to be like they're coming back from a gun show or something. How would he even carry around all these guns? This can't be real. Hold on. This is not a thing. Shut up. That's not real. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to find a specific picture of a guy who's just absolutely strapped. Oh, well, here's one of the most premier examples of virtue signaling open carry. I literally cannot look at pictures of Caitlyn Bennett anymore without just thinking of all the poo memes. That's all. It's the immediate like that's immediately what I think of like at all times. Like, okay, hold on. People like this are so bad that it actually makes me want to make open carry illegal. Okay, so these people are at Target. I recognize the font and on the signs. I know what this looks like. Okay, you're just walking around with rifles on your back. Not only does this mean nothing, this means nothing, by the way. A person could sneak up on them with a brick. This isn't self-defense, okay? That's why people who actually care about self-defense, they concealed carry. People who actually care about self-defense concealed carry in public. Always, every time. You never, ever, ever open carry. You know why? Because you're telling people where the gun is and how to get to it before you can. Somebody could run up, grab the gun off her back, pull it up, and then start using it. Like, they have added danger to the situation. This is more risky for everyone than if they came completely unarmed. Yeah, they're both doing it. This is some, like, weird fucking couples retreat. This shit is so cringe. This is what I mean by gun culture. These people, they were just flexing. This is not how you defend yourself in public. This is not how you intimidate bad guys or whatever. This is dangerous and irresponsible and makes everyone uncomfortable, and it's a virtue signal. It's done exclusively to tell everyone around you what a cool, excellent badass you are and what soy cucks they are. There are tons of... Oh, here's another one at Target. Like, look at... Can you imagine, like, going... Oh, this is a really low image picture, or low resolution. But, like, oh, yeah, dude, rifles. If you're open carrying, like, why wouldn't you just have a holster at your hip? These guns aren't even, like, quickly accessible. Somebody could just run up and... never mind. Is that a teenager? I don't know, probably. It's America. Wait, is there an entire, like, image album search of people open carrying with rifles at Target? What am I looking at right now? Is this a shotgun? It's a shotgun in open carry. Just in case you have to kill... All right. We need to move on. I'm going to say some very anti-revolutionary stuff if we continue to look at these people abusing their Second Amendment rights, okay? Oh, God. Oh, yeah, they're target shooting, yeah. In your opinion, what does good gun culture look like? People need to drop the delusions, okay? Having guns in your home increases the likelihood of you or someone you love dying, period, okay? The only exception to that, I mean, if you're like a farmer and you use guns to shoot like coyotes or what, like, obviously there are extenuating circumstances, but statistically, for the average person, the presence of a firearm is dangerous to people for a couple of reasons. First of all, most people aren't trained in combat situations, which means that they tend to be jumpy when using firearms. Sometimes people will own a gun, and then it'll be 3 a.m., they'll hear a bump downstairs, they'll get their gun, they'll run downstairs, they'll fire at a silhouette, and they've just killed, like, their brother from out of town who had a spare key who just came by and didn't want to wake you up but wanted to grab, like, a beer before heading to sleep. That happens. Also, suicide risk. Way easier to kill yourself with a gun than anything else. Very immediate. So, guns aren't really, like, super useful at self-defense in, like, a regular home situation. There are extenuating circumstances to that, of course, 100%. If you have some kind of job or you're in some position where you feel like you might be at a special risk, maybe in those instances you would feel more comfortable not only getting a firearm but also getting a concealed carry license. There is no reason to open carry unless you're doing a public, well-coordinated political demonstration. No other reason. Absolutely none. If you want to defend yourself, you concealed carry, okay? Do what real people who are real badasses and really have backgrounds in military security or police do, okay? And if you're worried about your safety in the public, okay, wear jeans and a polo shirt and a baggy windbreaker and just have a gun that is concealed carry, okay? And then for God's sake, only use it if you absolutely need to, okay? Just train yourself well, all right? Yeah. Can I skip the polo shirt? Unfortunately, no. You can't concealed carry unless you're wearing a polo shirt. That's just American law. Has anyone else noticed that? It is always polo shirts, isn't it? It's because polo shirts are what off-duty cops wear. I don't know why they agreed upon that as their uniform, but off-duty cops always wear polo shirts. I don't know why. Yes, and you have to look generally like a thumb. I don't know. I don't find polo shirts particularly handsome, but you know, whatever. Anyway, yeah. Or Hawaiian shirts. But anyway, yeah. If you want to defend yourself in public, concealed carry, get a license, take courses to know how to defend yourself. Oh, and also, by the way, hey. Who here has been watching those criminal investigation, the criminal psychology channel, the one where everyone got recommended that video that in like 1 week got 100 billion views, and since then yep, I fell down the rabbit hole, same as you guys, okay? Well, spoilerinos, the one that I'm watching right now, which I think is, no, it's not this one. Michael Dunn? No, not this one. Michael Drejka? Yeah, this one right here. This is one right here of a guy who was concealed carrying, firing at a guy without due cause. You got to be careful about that stuff, okay? If you have a concealed carry weapon or any kind of weapon on you, you only get to kill a person in self-defense if you have an imminent lethal threat to your person. Like an immediate, what is this channel? It goes over like it goes over the behind-the-scenes interrogation of suspected criminals, and a group of criminal psychologists break down the reactions of the people in those positions and try to impart insights to the audience. All these cases would have been resolved in the defendant's favor if they hadn't agreed to an interview and instead talked to a lawyer first. Almost all of them. But yeah, if you watch this channel, the recurring theme is all of these tricks only work if you're stupid enough to not get a lawyer first. Seriously. All of these people, if they had just shut up and waited for a lawyer. But the thing is, this channel only goes over, like, well, for the most part, it only goes over the interviews of, like, criminal psychopaths. These people, the ones who are shown in this channel, are like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent of the people who get arrested and interrogated, you know? Like, this person right here murdered 17 students and felt no remorse, you know? This person, like, slaughtered a boyfriend and, like, stabbed him 30 times and then lied about it the whole time, you know? This person arranged a murder on her parents, you know? This is Casey Anthony, who murdered her child and then got away with it. All of these people are like criminal psychopaths, and for that reason, I'm very happy that they didn't get lawyers. Yeah. My webcam extends above the top of the... Does it? Oh, let me fix that. The Jeff one was a happy ending, kind of. Kind of. I mean, this is a legend, though. It's with the legend of Jeff, yeah. Hold on. Let me fix the webcam, then. There we go. Easy as pie. Yes, Jeff was keeping it real. How do we deal with mass shootings, then? You will never be able to get rid of mass shootings just by, like, adding weird behind-the-grip plastic extensions to AR-15s. If you want to deal with mass shootings, you need to, A, deal with broader social conditions that are leading people towards feelings of despair and alienation. You deal with different forms of inequality that drive people apart. You fix the school system, which is a driver of a lot of mass shooting incidents and encourages a lot of alienation and separation. And you have put a greater focus, especially on like child mental health care services. Very, very important that all that be done. And that should all be done for its own sake, by the way, not just to get rid of shootings, but it's just good on its own, you know. Anyway, the last time we talked about guns, we all got in a big argument. So, yeah, let's all take a chill pill. You all understand what I'm saying, though, right? What I'm saying is, if you get arrested, do not talk to the police ever. Always talk to a lawyer first. There is no reason to ever talk to the police. Okay, ever, under any circumstances. There's absolutely no reason. Not a word to them. Zero. I mean nothing. Don't even tell them you didn't do anything. Don't tell them nothing. I mean, not a word, okay? If you must say something, don't. Absolutely nothing. Lawyer. You say, lawyer. You say, I want to see my lawyer. That's it. That's the only thing that you say, okay? Detective asks you about the weather. You tell them you want your lawyer, okay? Detective asks you if you've had a nice day. You say you want your lawyer. I'm not joking here. If they say, do you want a glass of water? Unless you really want a glass of water. If you're 50-50 on it, you don't accept it. And you say, I want my lawyer. That's it. Simple as that. No, I don't want a glass of water, sir. I want a lawyer. I'm being completely serious about this, by the way. This is not in any way, shape, or form an examination. Never accept anything that will give them DNA. Well, if you've been charged, then they can get your DNA anyway. If you haven't been charged yet, then I don't think that you'll like drink. Wait, is that true? Will they do that? Like you'll drink from like a water cup and they'll like take it and like get your fingerprints off that? I guess that's yeah, okay, yeah. I guess that's a reasonable strategy. I feel like if a group of people, if the cops are certain enough that they would do that, that they would probably charge you with something as well. Anyway, yeah. Talk to a lawyer, okay? Just eat the cup. Drink the water and then eat the cup, okay?
Mark and Craig, Pop Brothers at Law. We've been warning people, if you are working for an unlicensed dispensary, an illegal dispensary, and it gets raided, you need to shut the fuck up. If you shut the fuck up, you have a good chance that we can make the case go away. Case in point, 3 employees of an illegal shop were busted during a raid. 2 of them said, oh, I'm just volunteering here. The third guy, shut the fuck up. and the DA did not prosecute the guy who shut the fuck up. They can't prove what you were doing there. If you're a customer, a patient, walked in to go to the bathroom, they don't know. You got to shut the fuck up, and it's Shut the Fuck Up Friday, so review the script. What do you say when the cop first pulls you over?
Why'd you pull me over?
And when he keeps asking questions?
Not discussing my day.
And they ask more questions?
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
And if detained, what do you say?
I invoke the fifth.
And then what do? You
shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up Friday. Never answer questions when the cops ask.
Have safe holidays.
Tip of the day.
It's always Shut the Fuck Up Friday. Even if it's a Saturday, it's always Shut the Fuck Up Friday. Never forget. Always, always, always Shut the Fuck Up Friday. Never not Shut the Fuck Up Friday. Vosh, they're married? Good. I don't know if that's true. This is good advice, but do you think it applies equally to people of all races? Yes. If you are black, you still shut the fuck up and ask for a lawyer, okay? 100% yes you do, okay? There is an incredible amount that you give away that you're not aware of if you talk to cops, okay? Just keep in mind that if you're talking to cops, or worse, okay? If you're talking to detectives, which are cops, but, you know, they do their own thing. If you're talking to them, okay, these people are biological machines whose sole purpose is to use anything you give them to incriminate you, okay? Your body language, the tone of voice with which you say things, all of it, even your eye movements, all of it can be used as evidence by the prosecutor, okay? That is their only job, to get evidence for the DA. That's it. That's their only thing that they do, okay? So you shut the fuck up, and you get a lawyer, okay? Body language cannot be used as evidence, you dum-dum. Whoa, hold on. That is 100% not true. When videos of your interrogation are released to the jury, it is absolutely, like, gestured at. Like, you absolutely, like, the way you look, the way you act, like, it all feeds into the narrative that you provide the jury, you know? L.A. Noire proves you wrong. Ah, yes, of course. Of course, it's important to remember that if there's any, like, group of police officers that are sometimes, Vosh, please, this is cringe. How is this cringe? Wait, this is true. This is true. I mean, I'm speaking to American law here, but if you're in America and you get arrested, shut the fuck up. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, cops in chat trying to get you to... Vosh, shut up. Cops hate it when you ask for a lawyer. They hate it. When they talk to you, they'll do everything they can to make sure you don't ask for a lawyer, okay? When you say, it's like a cartoon, okay? When you say, you know, I want my they'll be like, oh, you want the lights to be turned up. Okay, yeah, it was a little dark in here. They'll interrupt, they'll do anything. They just don't want you to call for a lawyer, because the moment that you call for a lawyer, their game shuts down and they have to deal with a professional whose job it is to not take their shit, okay? Also, cops can and do lie in the interest of getting a confession. Yep, cops lie. And here's the thing, okay? This is why a lot of people think that, let's say you've committed a crime, okay? Let's say you've committed a crime. Let's think of like a trivial crime, because I don't want to like defend a murderer or anything. Let's say the crime you've committed is, you know what? Let's go vandalism, okay? Let's say that you're at one of these BLM rallies, all right? And you go a little Joker moment. You get a little bit of a Joker moment, you know, do a little bit of vandalism. And it's bad. It's bad, by the way. You do vandalism. It's a thing you actually do, okay? Have a little Joker moment, okay? You get picked up by the cops, all right? Let's say you get picked up by the cops. Now, these cops can and will tell you absolutely anything. They'll tell you absolutely anything, okay? If the cops will say, hey, listen, man, we've got video surveillance footage of you, okay? We've got video surveillance footage of you right there at the scene. All you're really doing is making this harder for everyone by drawing out this case, okay? What we're really looking for is remorse. If you just say, yeah, I did it and I'm sorry, then we can move forward with this. You'll get a slap on the wrist, okay? But if you continue to deny, that's going to look really bad to a jury. They could be lying. They might not have video footage. They could say, hey, we picked up one of your buddies, you know, the guy, and then they like name a guy that you know, and he says that, yeah, he saw you too. He broke like that. Like, yeah, we already have you pegged for this, man. It's really just a matter of time. Now let's just make this easy. They're lying. They could be lying. And here's the thing. You also, why is that allowed? It's a good thing that this is allowed, by the way. The system works best when there's a detective on one end and a lawyer on the other end. The reason why detectives need to lie is because heinous criminals need to be pinned on their lies or their inconsistencies. What if they aren't lying? That's why you shut the fuck up. If they're not lying and you deny what they say, then you're provably lying, and that'll look really bad to a jury or to a judge. If you don't say anything, they can't hold you to account for lying. Say they have evidence against you. What is admitting to it going to do for you? What is denying it going to do for you? Denying it is only going to make it clear to the jury or to the judge that isn't lying to cops literally legal? Yeah, but people do it all the time anyway. Just don't say anything. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. What if you don't have a lawyer? Get one. Get one. Borrow money from every relative you have. Do anything. Call anyone. Make any favor you need to. You want a lawyer, okay? Because the benefits that you can get from a lawyer, even a bad one, are infinitely better than what you can get off of them. Yeah, the state has to provide one legally. If you want a better one, if you think the one you got is crap, then you shill out for a better lawyer, okay? Because trust me, shilling out a couple $1,000s for a better lawyer, for a better case, is vastly preferable to the consequences of getting an unfavorable court ruling. Hey, Booch Boy. Public defenders are bottom of the barrel. Public defenders, no, there are a lot of really passionate public defenders. The problem is they're just overworked, Yeah, we're not giving legal advice here, but, seriously, shut the fuck up. So basically, shut the fuck up and have money. We're not all privileged. You do realize the state will provide you a lawyer, right? Shut the fuck up and ask for a lawyer. You shut the fuck up, okay? Anyway, there is a reason why the detectives are allowed to lie, and it's a good reason, by the way. They need to be able to lie to catch people in their own lies. Now, that can seem really manipulative and abusive, but keep in mind, that's how the system is supposed to work. If you're caught in committing a crime, and you actually have committed that crime, it is the responsibility of the state to do everything in its power to prove that you committed the crime. That's the system working. Now, whether or not those crimes are just is another question entirely. But if you have broken the law, you do want the system to be able to determine whether or not you've broken the law reliably. And often that means catching people out on their lies. So you can actually see this if you watch the channel that I just showed, the JCS Criminal Psychology channel. Is that one of the best ways that you can get somebody who's done something really terrible to trip up over themselves is if you catch them in a lie, okay? If a person's done something very suspicious and you pick them up and they tell you one narrative, don't give them all your evidence right to begin with, because they might say something that contradicts a piece of evidence that you have. In fact, bait them into saying something that contradicts a piece of provable evidence that you have. And if you can do that and prove them a liar, that throws a lot of doubt on anything else they say that's in their favor. I think the biggest issue is that people will break down and admit to things they do, and that's what a lot of people have issue with. The biggest issue, excuse me, God damn it. The biggest issue is that a lot of people buy into the idea that being nice to your cop will make things easy for you. No, it won't. Your cop does not determine your sentence. Your cop does not determine your verdict, okay? If your cop is like, come on, man, I've had a long day, I'm tired, can't you just tell me a little bit? No, I don't care. Cops aren't your friends, man. They're not they'll always say this, I'm here to help you, man. I just want to work this out. Come on, we're friends here, aren't we? No. No. Wrong. Cop's job is to get a guilty verdict. Detectives love getting confessions, okay? You just don't, just no. It doesn't matter if the cop hates you. Doesn't matter. Don't say anything. You're judging all cops by a few bad ones. Most cops don't want someone innocent to be arrested. It's not a matter of whether or not they want someone innocent to be arrested. It's that cops... So when police officers are engaging in an investigation, they presume something. And the assumption is that anyone they pick up who is actually guilty is going to lie constantly. And unfortunately, that's mostly true. if you pick up a criminal, a person who commits a crime, and let's say it's not some pithy little crime like weed possession. I mean, we're talking rape, murder, assault, arson. The assumption is that these people are going to lie. Usually they do. So it's the job of the investigator to assume bad faith from the person they're talking to if given a reason to. Usually it's the way a person behaves, or it's like a little tip they give, something inconsistent, or a pattern of behavior that makes them seem unhinged or unreliable. And then, once you've sort of assumed or you've recognized the assumption that they're not a reliable person, then you dig in as hard as you can, and you try to catch them in lies or what have you. That is the system working as it is intended, and the cops are incentivized to get convictions. Now, one of the big issue is that the cops work directly with the district attorneys, which means that cops will sometimes falsify evidence or lie outright to the benefit of the DA, who also wants to get successful guilty verdicts. That's one of the big issues. Now, if we could divide that, if we could separate those two, make it so the DA and the cops are a little bit more independent, I wouldn't have an issue at all with cops being hyper-aggressive and getting a guilty verdict, because every U.S. citizen is provided legal counsel in an investigation. So that's the job, okay? What you really need to imagine, okay, is that it's a JoJo battle, okay? When you get arrested, all right, you and the cop are both stand users, okay? And the cop deploys the district attorney, all right? And you deploy your legal counsel, all right? And they fucking order over the investigation table, okay? See, now you understand? There you go, okay? But all you do is you stand there with your arms crossed, like this. That's what and you shut the fuck up. What does Cujo Jotaro do, folks? What does Jotaro do? He shuts the fuck up. That's right. He doesn't say shit. He lets his stand do the talking, okay? And that is what you need to do, all right? Bosh, you have way too much admiration for the U.S. justice system. I don't think this is admiration. I just think this is how the system is supposed to function. And fundamentally, by the way, hey, listen. Fundamentally, by the way, this is gonna suck to hear, but we have one of the better legal justice systems in the world. I know America really sucks, but trust me, you can do a run around the world and you'll find, wow, do things get a lot worse, okay? So I'd like to take the good parts of the system that we have and try to fix like the obviously broken parts. Like the fact that cops have no accountability, the fact that DAs work directly with cops, which means there's a shared incentive to falsify evidence and overlook like exonerating evidence, the fact that police officers and DAs have a really bad habit of not sharing exonerating evidence with the defense counsel, which means the defense counsel has no way to meaningfully defend their client, and then the person gets convicted and 6 years later they find out that the person actually had like an alibi that completely checked out. There are things that we can fix, but the base of the system, like the root principles of the system, the idea that the investigator's job is to do everything they can to catch you in a lie, to try to find holes in your story. They're a detective. And that the legal counsel's job is to make sure that you are engaging in behavior which maximizes the likelihood of an exoneration. That seems like it's an okay balance, you know? If done well, if appropriately tailored. Isn't grand jury a huge cringe though? That's a whole different thing. The grand jury stuff, that's a different thing that operates by a different set of rules. Yeah. I don't know, Vosh, countries without private prisons might be better. I don't know why I say something like America's is good relative to most of the world, but there are still huge problems we can fix. And then people respond with, did you know there are huge problems we can fix? Did you did you know I know that? Are you aware I knew that? All right. We haven't even done a segment yet, guys. We've been talking. And what fun we've been having, huh? What memories we've created. Is this a segment? None of this is a segment. Okay? None of this is a segment. Thank you. How about we since it's been such a long time, how about we how about we read donations? And then we continue. We have to talk about Tim Pool and Andy No. Hold on. Forgive me. So the system is fine, it's just broken. Are you actually illiterate? It's better than a lot of other systems, but there are many improvements that we can make. Do you understand? I don't understand what about this is difficult to understand. Here, contemplate it. 30 days of silence, okay? I don't understand. I try so hard to be careful with my language. All right. Okay. Let's clear all this dumb bullshit. Make sure that I've got all this organized appropriately. Hold on.
A GoFundMe launched by a conservative writer targeting Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been halted after the crowd.
All right, let me read donos, then we'll continue. None of the fun. Thank you for the incredibly kind 4 gifted tier 1 subs. I really, really appreciate that. It seemed you have a dead pixel on your camera. What? Where? On my shirt? Near my nipple. Is this some kind of game we're playing? I'm trying to... It's on your hand? I think I'm being fucked with. I think I'm being fucked with. I think I'm being fucked with. I don't see anything. Really there when you leave? Okay, wait, hold on. It's honestly there? Okay, if it's honestly there, then let's drape something in front of the camera. I don't see it. It's that color? Okay, let's drape something black in front of the camera. Black cloth. Black cloth. I have a... Here's a gunsmithing kit. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's not there. It's not there. I'm getting memed on. It's not there. It's not there. I need people I trust. Tempest, review the footage. You need to decide. Is it visible over the black? What is it? Somebody sent a screenshot. Right where my armpit was? I can't... Okay, I think fundamentally the problem is that my OBS display window is not the same resolution that I'm broadcasting at. What if I... Wait, is it right here? Huh. Well, that's dumb. I'll try resetting my camera after I'm done with the stream. That's obviously not so big a deal that I need to stop the stream right now. I can't believe you guys even noticed that. Huh. Could be dirt on the lens. It literally could just be dirt on the lens. I'll adjust it in a sec. Hold on. It's so tiny. Okay, shut up. Jesus. Mr. Feeney93, thank you for the incredibly kind tier 3 sub. I really, really appreciate that. God. You fucking people. No! My remote. Zay is not vibing. Thank you for the very kind tier 2 sub. Really appreciate that. AC Samlap and Razaslama, thank you for the tier 1 subs. Both really appreciate that. And thank you, comrade. Why so many linkers? Markinator, thank you for the very kind $5. How does the American school system lead to alienation than school shootings? I mean, that's a really complicated subject, but I feel like the school system leads to people being really lonely right now, you know? The school system has just done a very poor job at meeting people's, like, kids' emotional needs in the way that it probably needs to. Booch Boy and Flips, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. Really, really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Ali12, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I don't think so. I don't want to go to the UK. Okay, wait. There are like 20 links here. I'm not getting to all these. Fuck all of you. Farglehorn, thank you for the very kind tier 3 sub. Really appreciate that, comrade. Seriously. Temp account 20, thanks to the gifted tier 1 sub. And Jera with the $35. Thank you so much, comrade. I really, really appreciate that. Hey, Vosh, if you ever start a cooking show with Xander Hall, can you call it Debake Bros? Yeah, sure. If I ever start a baking show with Xander Hall, I will consider calling it Debake Bros. Debakey? A workable idea. Jason here with the very kind $15. Yo, I'm Folly 19. Happy birthday. Also, Vosh, can I email you again after you have a more clear schedule? Still want to talk about gender abolition and the issues with it. You're free to email, but I cannot make any promises. I am and continue to be always overbooked. None of the fun with the 4 gifted tier 1 subs. Sorry, chat Pepe hands. It's okay. They appreciate the little swipe or no swipe and point at the TV get along game, okay? They're all here for it. Thank you very, very much. All right. You can't keep me from it any further. There are still donos, but all the donos are from linkers. And linkers aren't human. Alright? So recently we had an interesting little bit of news, a confrontation that I would have never expected to see. We actually saw Tim Pool, that Tim Pool, call out Andy No for irresponsible journalism on Twitter. Now, certainly had my disagreements with Tim Pool, and that's putting it lightly, but I have to say, I think he's spot on this one. So before we talk about that, we need to address really quickly who Andy No is. And I mean, anyone who's watching this already knows who he is, or at least most of you are, but basically, Andy No is a... Does he admit to being right-wing? He's right-wing. Okay. He's a right-wing... let's call him a journalist charitably for now. And he grew to fame doing very public denunciations of anti-fascist organizers, especially in Portland. And what he does, essentially, is he goes to these anti-fascist demonstrations and he finds ways to make them look bad. The most common ways in which he does this is by selectively editing recordings that he takes to make the anti-fascist groups look as bad as possible. I mean, you can go through the archives, and that's not really what this is about, but there have been many, many instances of him, like, filming events where the far right will attack anti-fascists, but then he'll, like, start the clip as the anti-fascists attack back, and then it's like, oh, God, the anti-fascists, they do this, they do that. Anyway, the reason why I say, you know, journalists with Andy No is because, well, I guess mostly because of this, you know? Everything bad that he's done, evidently speaking, kind of pales in comparison to this. So, on account of evidence brought to court in a separate case, there is actually video footage of Andy No being with and planning violence with a far-right group shortly before they engaged in an attack on a group of others. Andy No was... The only reason this was caught was because there was actually a left-leaning plant in this group. But Andy No was meeting with these far-right militants who were planning violence for which they were caught and arrested, by the way. And we can see, that's right, that's Andy No right there. Now, Andy No's, like, line, whenever he talks about Antifa, is these people are violent, they're destructive, I'm just trying to bring light to the violence. I think this shows what a disingenuous statement that is. Because Andy No will not only see the planning for far-right violence, he will actually participate in it, being friendly with the people planning to engage in far-right violence. And he has his camera on him. He's not recording anything because he doesn't care. That's why I don't call him a journalist. A journalist's job is to find the truth. He's more like... I think even agitator would be a little bit charitable. I think he's a propagandist, first and foremost. His job is to use any available information, any camera trick, any angle, any story that he can to get you to believe a given political perspective. And I ask you, if you like Andy Ngo and you're watching this, can you really defend him palling around with far-right militants, not recording, not publicizing anything, only being made public after the fact because of court evidence that was brought to light in a completely separate incident? Is there really, like, a defense of this? Not really, no. The only thing that you have to admit to accept that reality is that Andy Ngo doesn't actually care about violence. He just cares about framing Antifa and the left as a whole as looking bad, which makes him not a journalist, pretty much by definition. Anyway, he lost his job at the Quillette after that, and I mean, it was a pretty embarrassing PR move for him, but he just kind of hopes people forget, much like the concrete milkshake thing. Remember back in like 2019 where somebody threw a milkshake at him and he said, "That was a concrete milkshake. The milkshake was made of concrete." And it wasn't, it was just a milkshake. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Wasn't it vegan milkshake? Oh, I don't know. I just know it wasn't concrete. I mean, you know, he's a wacky guy, you know? Anyway, Andy Ngo's whole career is like this, okay? Andy Ngo's whole career is essentially being the cry bully, feigning victimhood. Whenever he gains popularity, whenever he goes trending or viral, it's usually because he has inserted himself into a situation where he is adjacent to violence, and then he exaggerates to the highest possible degree the extent to which he has been a victim of that violence. Oh yeah, for a while he faked a British accent. I don't know what that was about. He doesn't have a British accent, but for a while he was faking it in public interviews. Maybe it was because of his brain trauma. Right. For a while he went on this arc saying that that he had brain trauma, and we got this tweet, by the way, which was quickly deleted afterwards, but I was holding a container of fruit with both hands. Then suddenly I just dropped it. It landed all over the feet and floor. I looked down and couldn't help but think this had to do with the brain injury. Maybe I'm wrong. The attackers robbed me of confidence in holding my own food. Absolutely spectacular tweet. Really a banger. The reason I'm comfortable making fun of this is because there wasn't really any evidence of brain damage. He was injured at a point during one of these protests, and then he played it up. I mean, he played it up so hard. Constant photos, fundraising, hundreds of thousands raised for his brain injury. He hasn't, to my knowledge, demonstrated any symptoms of brain injury at all. Like, he continues to run around and do stuff in public. He just seems like a guy who will, like, he's like the kind of guy who's trying to get the other person red carded in soccer, you know what I mean? Like, somebody will, like, walk past him and shoulder check him, and he'll go flying backwards, you know, and he'll smash his head against the concrete, and he'll die, but then he'll come back to life, and, you know, he does that whole thing. Anyway. So, we've sufficiently poisoned the well, okay? We've poisoned the well. Now you all know why I don't take Andy Ngo seriously, why I think he's a propagandist, why I don't think anyone who believes in understanding what goes on at anti-fascist protests should ever listen to him, you know? A recent incident took place. This was from 5 days ago. Portland protesters chase, tackle, and punch someone they believed to be Andy Ngo until he hides in the Nines Hotel. So, essentially what happened was there was a peaceful protest, and it was, by the way, it was a peaceful protest that took place. A small crowd of leftist protesters, approximately 75, they threw some raw eggs at at the Justice Center before peacefully marching through the downtown, chanting and beating drums. Lovely, based, excellent, what have you. Anyway, rumors were circulating that a person by the name of Andy Ngo was amongst the anti-fascist protesters. So, you know, rumors circulated, and it looks like one person was singled out as being that Andy Ngo. The imposter was found, and they chased him for a while, and then they beat him up, and then he ran to the Nines Hotel screaming, "They're going to kill me, they're going to kill me." Something like that. Later, 5 days after the attack, Andy Ngo confirms that he was indeed that individual. So, there are a few things that I want to talk about here really, really quick, okay? First of all, and I cannot say this strongly enough, okay? If you are Antifa, or part of an anti-fascist protest, and you say, there's a far-right journalist in our midst who's made a living off of exaggerating and playing up the violent tendencies of our movement. Let's beat him up. You are an it is impossible to describe how unfathomably unworthy you are of participating in any kind of activism or engagement. Okay? It is you do not deserve to go outside and to represent any kind of political movement. Okay? In fact, you should go outside and represent right-wing political movements so you can make them look terrible and do bad things to them. Okay? That's what you should do. All right? You should go over there and you should worm on in from the inside. Okay? I genuinely cannot fathom the process on this. If you find an agitator in your midst, do you know what you do? Confront them. Hey, dude, are you Andy No? Seriously? You're here? He's got a camera somewhere on him. Hey, you're Andy No? Seriously? You want to march with us? We don't really want you with our group. Can you, like, leave? We don't like you very much. Like, seriously, can we? And then, like, if you want to, like, move them out of the crowd, do that. Okay? Record it, by the way, too. If you find out that he's in your crowd, record him. Turn it on the other, flip the script. Record him. Get his reactions. How does he act? Does he act cringe? Does he freak out? Does he get violent? What does he do? Okay? Flip the script. All you're doing is playing into everything he tries to portray anti-fascists as by running around beating up. Why? Seriously, I don't even want to argue about this. Anybody who thinks that's justified because of what a POS Andy No is, that's not how this works, okay? That's not how anything works, all right? Are you against anti-fascist aggression in general or against aggression just against Andy No? Wait, don't attack people who aren't doing anything. Wait, hold on. Is this a joke? If you're Antifa or anyone else, you can't just attack people who aren't doing anything. You realize that, right? Even if they're Andy No, even if they're a literal like fascist, you can't do that, okay? We quadruple the fact that you can't do that if they are a literal propagandist agitator whose job it is to cry bully on camera, okay? Like, seriously. What if we really, really dislike them? Well, you know, have fun with your, yeah. Couldn't you argue that a fascist is doing violence by having a platform and then getting people on their side? You're helping that process. If that's the argument, you're helping them. The Antifa people who beat up Andy No were doing the the fascist propagandizing by giving them material. You're helping them in that process. This is a joke? So punch a Nazi is bad? There's a pretty huge difference between a broader, like, anti-fascist versus fascist engagement, where, like, a person runs up and does, like, a little sneaky deck, or, like, groups fighting one another, and a person in a group surrounded getting beaten up on by a mob. Is this a joke? I actually can't tell. Why are there so many CIA agents in chat? What is the trolling going on here? Why are you doing this to me? Please stop, okay? I'll tell you this much, okay? If all Antifa and anti-fascist organization was done in the light and the purview of what you people wanted, the world wouldn't need Andy No, because you would be just as bad as they portray you as, okay? Dude, this shop is associated with fascists. Let's burn it. Let's blow that. Well, this old grandma said a nice thing to let's kick her and punch her, and, like, come on, seriously? Whatever. Ignore the 13-year-olds in chat, okay? We're moving forward with this. And a reminder that all these people are an extreme minority, and they're online, and that none of the people, by the way, who just disagreed with me right now have ever touched grass or been outside. At no point have they ever been outside, okay? Anyway, so Andy No acknowledged that this was, in fact, him, okay? Indeed, it was indeed him, okay? Now, Andy No, you know, he's on Twitter. He's posting pictures of, you know, him having, like, scrapes on himself. I think he's got, like, a bloody eye or something. He does look a little roughed up. Anyway. Now we get to the quality stuff. Tim Pool. So here's Andy No. Statement on May 28th. Antifa assault. No journalist in America should ever face violence for doing his or her job. Yet on Friday, May 28th, Antifa tried to kill me again while I was reporting on the ongoing protests and riots in Portland, Oregon. For a new chapter of my book, Unmasked... See, look at how effectively you all have challenged the fascist narrative on this. Boy, being randomly violent to a person who wasn't, like, who was just, like, standing in a group of 70 of your allies sure did lead to you successfully dismantling the fascist narrative. 30,000 likes. I was chased, attacked, and beaten by a masked mob baying for my blood. Had I not been able to shelter wounded and bleeding inside a hotel while they beat on the doors and windows like animals, I wonder whether or not this is true. Probably not. There is no doubt in my mind I would not be here today. Their words, like their actions, speak for themselves. And then we see screenshots of people from my chat on Twitter. And then it goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. This isn't Andy No. I don't know what this is. Anyway, Tim Pool hitting on here, okay? What purpose was served by trying to infiltrate Antifa? Some journalists can't cover certain topics. Women were barred from reporting from Tahrir by some outlets due to violence against women specifically. This was pointless and unbelievably stupid. Andy going into the fray with no security and no plan is not reporting. It's tribal spectacle. I was barred from reporting places, and I've refused to support journalists purposefully escalating risk and danger. This is the most true thing I have ever seen in my life. This is some Tim Cool content right here, okay? For so many reasons, okay? Calling Andy No out correctly on what Andy No is actually doing. Not journalism, but baiting, okay? Imagine, for example, that you're like a pro-Israeli reporter, you know, a pro-Israeli journalist. Not just a pro-Israeli journalist. You're like on the far right, you're pro-apartheid, you've called like Arabs animals, etc., etc. And then you go into Gaza and go find like pro-Palestinian marches and just like shuffle around in there. What do you think is going to happen? Obviously, violence is going to happen. And then you cover that violence and you cry baby and you whine and you say this is why all of the Palestinian people are pro-Hamas and anti-Semitic and why they're all violent and blah, 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 blah. Okay? The thing is, you're not actually engaging in journalism here. What you're doing is you're creating a situation where violence is near guaranteed, and then you're creating a spectacle out of that violence. If Andy No was actually interested in covering or reporting anything that was taking place, he would have been on the sidelines. Or with his massive amount of money and influence, he would have sent somebody in for undercover camera work that wasn't as recognizable as Andy No. Because that way, there wouldn't have been the same elevated risk of violence that would have led to the spectacle that he was deliberately trying to bait. The goal here was never to cover what was happening. The goal here was to make something happen. And that's not journalism. Journalists do not make the news. They cover the news. Andy No's goal was to make the news. He didn't want to write the headline. He wanted to be the headline. Very big difference. Very big difference. And not something journalists typically do. In fact, something they basically never do unless circumstances force them into it. But this has been Andy No's job for years now. Maximize the likelihood that he has something bad happen to him, so he gets to be the star of the show. So he gets to make a lot of money off of GoFundMe's, and he gets to sell his book, and he gets on the New York Times bestseller list. It's all a big clout game for him, and it does us a tremendous political disservice for a number of reasons. Not the least of which is because I think there are a lot of fans of Andy No who don't realize that Andy No is in favor of the violence that happened to him. That's the reason why, by the way, I'm not too sympathetic to Andy No, okay? I still think the Antifa people who attacked him are morons, but Andy No is pro-violence. He'll stand with far-right militia groups and nod along as they plan to attack people. He's explicitly in favor of that. He is okay with that. So how bad am I really supposed to feel for him that it also happens to him when he deliberately agitates it? Keep in mind, he agitated this. It's not like a group of Antifa people were all like nodding around and then like chased after him out of nowhere impromptu. He created the initial situation. Andy No remains the victim of things no worse than what he perpetuates to others. Does that make it good? No. Does it make Andy No a clown? Yes. And it means that Tim Pool is based in Red Pilled in this instance. Absolutely, 100%, without a doubt, no denying it. Absolutely spectacular stuff from Tim Pool over here. Cannot deny it, okay? And it's important to call stuff like that out. It is. Vosh chat doesn't get the segment over, Tempest. Vosh chat doesn't get the difference between one person punching Richard Spencer on their own versus an organized protest of Antifa attacking Andy No. Please explain it. I just think that, again, this is an optics thing, and there are plenty of dumb fucks in chat with zero fucking brain material inside of their skull who just think like, punch Nazis, punch fascists, beat up kill you don't think you get to punch all fascists at all times under every circumstance, no matter what the circumstance or situation? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to convince these people off this. Hold on. Vosh, you're unnecessarily defending Andy's objectively awful manipulative behavior. At no point during... I know you're already getting banned because at no point during this did I offend Andy's behavior once. Literally at no point during the entire segment, at any point, anywhere, did I ever defend his behavior. I condemned it on every level. While mocking and dismissing the concerns for violence that people I know never mocked and dismissed the concerns. What are you talking about? Why are you imagining words? Stop! Listen to the words coming out of my mouth instead of plugging your ears and imagining what I'm saying, okay? Jesus. Why do people do this? Stop! Why? Listen to the shit I say. Why do I have to defend positions I don't believe in all the time? Do you think the violence was optically bad or morally wrong? For me, there's no difference. I'm a utilitarian. If you engaging in violence against Andy No procures bad outcomes, then it was morally wrong. And also, as a general rule, if a person's not doing anything violent and you fucking beat them up as a crowd with them not having done anything, that's pretty fucked. You realize that, right? Like, by default, that's a pretty bad thing to do. I don't think people realize the difference between, like, a sucker punch on Richard Spencer being done during an interview that he's doing, and like a group of people chasing down and beating up somebody who's running away from them. If Richard Spencer had been knocked to the ground, gotten up and run, and then 5 guys chased after him and started like kicking and stomping on him, yeah, my opinion on this would change. Not, by the way, because I think that Nazis are like super great, amazing people or whatever stupid position you're going to ascribe to me, but rather because, so leaving aside the fact that I fundamentally believe in things like rehabilitative justice, there's also the broader problem of this doesn't serve our cause. It doesn't. It doesn't serve the cause at all. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't fix anything. Yeah, exactly. If your anti-fascist action helps fascists, then it's not anti-fascist action. Please keep that in mind, okay? Feels good, though. You have never laid a violent finger on a fascist. Stop LARPing. You're getting stunlocked by chat? Yeah, well, that's every stream. In the end, I think a lot of people don't understand utilitarianism. A lot of people in my chat claim to understand and believe in utilitarianism until it comes to a principle they hold true. So, oh yeah, I believe that the morality of an action is determined by its consequences, but like, punching fascists is good. Yeah, beat up the fash, smash the fash. Like, no. Smash the fash is only good insofar as it leads to positive outcomes. There is no world in which this led to a positive outcome. At all. None whatsoever. As a general rule, a group of people beating up on a defenseless person is almost never going to lead to a positive outcome. I would almost never defend such a thing. I don't think a lot of people realize we're not in some kind of open street war where, like, the fascists are all about to lead us to the camps and we all need to defend ourselves right now. That's not the position we're in right now. We might be in the future, and in that future position, the threshold for humane behavior may narrow significantly, but right now, that is just not the position that we're in. I think it'd be nice if you could get Tim Pool in your stream since you were on his. Tim Pool is a cool dude. Tim Cool. Fosh, I love you, but I have to disagree with your take that fascists are extremely poggers. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I knew that one would be a hot take or whatever. Man, this is one of the problems that I have with Antifa, by the way. The problem is that a lot of Antifa are full of people like... like you guys, like Twitter people, you know, like really super energetic, like really off the cuff, on the ground, like not really principled, just like mad and energetic. And the thing is, it doesn't really matter if fascists engage in that behavior because fascists are all like brutes, but we're not, and we have to appeal to optics in ways that they don't. Fascist sympathizers are pro-cruelty, but like liberals and left sympathizers generally aren't. So we don't, yeah, we can't really do that. Vosh, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't really know if he was even in danger. Seems like he could have easily been crying wolf or worse, was chased away from the event. There were photos of him being fairly injured. Also, this is also insane to me. None of the Antifa people pulled out a camera. That's insane to me. If you find an agitator in your movement, everyone pulls. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what they did to the BLM rallies. This is why a lot of BLM rallies didn't want Antifa there, because a lot of them are dumb as fuck. When you find an agitator, everyone pulls their phone out and starts naming and shaming. Hey, Andy, no, milkshake boy. Hey, what's up? Hey, found you at your movement. Hey, Andy, take off the mask, buddy. Come on, show those pearly whites to the camera. Come on, come on, come on. You name and shame, and eventually they walk off because they've got nothing left to do. Their position's been compromised. Don't they say not to video record or take pictures? You have to have something on you for this. Even if it's not a camera phone, even if it's a regular phone. You need the evidence? Yeah, you need evidence of this stuff. Why are you talking about Antifa like a group and not an idea? Oh no, we're about to burn some bridges here. Okay, it is true that anti-fascism is an idea and not a group, but let's not like joke here. Antifa, broadly speaking, refers to like a disorganized group of people with fairly similar messaging and like goals, okay? That's generally true, all right? Now, anti-fascist action in general is, I mean, that is an ideology, and there is no central Antifa unit or anything like that. But when I say like Antifa does X, there are generally like patterns in American Antifa that you can point to. It's a disorganized, separated, non-hierarchical collection of people with roughly similar behavioral patterns, depending on the circumstances and the cities that they live in. Yeah. Now, there is a difference there. I would never say that Antifa is like a big organization or some dumb shit like that. But yeah. I feel like Vosh is acting pretty calm, but he's actually one more shitpost away from banning half of chat. True. But you guys get me though, right? Don't you guys remember what happened at BLM when there was a live streamer there, and it was an alt-right live streamer, and the alt-right live streamer was like, guys, tip over that truck. And rather than like ignoring them, all the BLM protesters turned around. They were like, you want us to tip over that truck? Why are you trying to agitate? And they like chased him away. That was based. That was extremely based. Why do you always use this example? Because it's an amazing example of how to handle stuff like that properly. You need to stop calling everyone absolutely brain dead. But Kavi, Kavi, you're one of the people I call absolutely brain dead. Kavi, weren't you one of the people who I banned for having like a low IQ argument during the Kink at Pride discourse, and now here you are giving a low IQ take on whether or not it's okay for a group of Antifa to beat up a defenseless person whose job it is to propagandize Antifa beating up groups of defenseless people? Like, so hold on, it's not everyone, it's just you, Kavi. To be fair. Didn't Tim Pool say he was going to be saying and tweeting things he doesn't believe in an attempt to be uncriticizable? Sure, it doesn't really matter. People will take what he tweets seriously. I don't really care what he believes. I only really care what discourse he enables. And hey, if right-wingers were mad at him for saying that, then, you know. Also, I think he actually did believe that, to be fair. There were some tweets he was making that were fairly obviously satirical. I don't think, you know. Any advice to get over being nervous to speak your own opinions? I don't know. Just live stream, okay? You got to get used to it. Oh, what is this? This is the last time I mentioned this. The YouTube channel called The Vanguard claimed you called Cornel West a grifter and that you only critique Jimmy Dore. I have never called Cornel West a grifter ever at any point. I didn't watch their whole video. They just looked kind of stupid. I saw the video from The Vanguard and the title was like, Vosh blown the fuck out on lies and fake hoods. And then I watched the video and it was like 90% my content. And they agreed with almost everything that I said. So I don't like, if people want to talk, they can email me. I just like, what? Yeah, they're trying to bait me to go on their show. It's, yeah, I get it. Why can't people just email? Vosh, I do agree there are better ways to handle it, but the violence itself is fairly justified. For me, justification is a factor of whether or not it's good outcomes. And no, there aren't good outcomes to chasing down a defenseless person and beating the shit out of him. Whether or not he will then go on to a hotel to survive and then publish a bunch of info on it and get a ton of publicity over the bad actions you've engaged in. No, do you really think you're fighting fascism by forming like fucking brown shirt crowds? I was under the impression that Antifa was a little bit more disciplined. And you know why I know that? Because people always say this, Antifa doesn't hurt people, they do property damage. Antifa isn't violent, they just break windows and turn over trash cans. Property damage isn't violence. Antifa isn't violent, okay? What they are is anti-fascist. They protect people. They're anti-violence. There is nothing anti-violence about singling out a person amongst your crowd and beating the shit out of them. There's just not. That just doesn't fix or protect or do anything good. It doesn't fix anything. It's just not good. It's a bad thing. It's one incident, though? Yeah, so why can't we just agree that this one incident was bad? Can't we just say that? I'm not denouncing all of Antifa. I'm literally just saying this was bad. This was bad for so many reasons. Can't we just say that? Is that a hard bullet to bite? I'm not like reneging on any previous positions that I've had. This is very consistent with everything I've always said. I agree it's a bad way, but I think it's a bit of a justified reaction wanting to chase a fascist out of the protest. No, that's not utilitarian. I agree the outcomes were bad, but I still think it was justified because, like, they didn't want the fascists there. No, by the way, the fact that you're sanitizing what took place is an indicator that you're acting in bad faith. They didn't chase him out of the protest. They beat him up as a group of people. We don't have any contrary evidence because none of those thick-skulled Antifa thugs were smart enough to pull out a camera and record the engagement that they should have known was going to be at the front page of every newspaper a couple of days afterwards. I don't know how stupid you have to be in a situation like that to not have somebody pull out a camera. This is just people wanting to be the violent one, okay? This is just somebody wanting to be the bully, okay? You guys, you don't understand. We can't afford to be stupid. You don't get this, okay? We aren't on equal footing with the people we disagree with, okay? We have to be smart, all right? We have to be considerate. We have to be thoughtful. We can't be stupid, all right? We don't get to do bad things that give our enemies a fuck ton of publicity and attention and then go, whatever, dude. I mean, I got like fascists are bad, I guess. We can't do that, all right? Why can't we all just agree this was a bad thing that was done? Is that so hard? Are we really enabling fascists by saying that? If anything, we're not enabling them. What's enabling them is the fact that I'm one of the largest lefty streamers on earth, and I'm arguing with my chat right now because there are people in my community who unironically believe that it's morally justified to gang beat up like completely defenseless people who haven't initiated any violence. That's what's good for the right. You're all doing their work for them. They love this so much. They love it so much when they see people like you making their arguments for them. Andy No goes out there and says, Antifa is violent, they're destructive, they just want to kill us. And then you guys say, you're right, you're totally right, we do. Stop, please stop. Okay. You probably went over this, but do you think it's important to show fascists there will be a violent reaction to their aggression? Andy No wasn't aggressive. He was chased out of the group and then attacked by a mob. He didn't engage in aggression. There was no self-defense. I'm fine with self-defense. Self-defense is good. I agree with Vosh, but this is going to get clipped and far-right people will say this is based. They should, by the way. When the far right sees stuff like what I'm saying right now, the reason why they'll say it's based is because it services a narrative that's inconvenient to them. They want me to agree with you. They want me to say, oh, yeah, dude, Andy Ngo is a fashy piece of shit and he deserved what he got. And then they clip that and then they're like, massive lefty YouTube man said violence is good if you disagree with journalists, etc., etc. That's what they want, okay? That's me serving their interests. You are serving their interests. Okay, we're sorry, we're done. Every stream we have to get angry at chat. We have to. Oh, okay, we're good now. Are we good? Are we good now? We're fine. I've reorganized my brain matter. Okay. The people in your chat have beating up random people as bad as a hot take. Yeah. All right, we're good now. Did we make it? Okay, we made it. Nice. Yeah, new worst discourse, please. God almighty. Oh yeah, I saw this. This is really, really sad. The northern white rhinos are going to be extinct now. The last male died, and attempts at artificial insemination have failed. So there's 2 females left, but, you know, they're gonna die too. Yeah, that really sucks. It's too bad. They're very pretty. What about cloning? I mean, maybe. I guess I haven't really thought about that. Maybe there's some wacky way to do that in the future. I don't know. I don't really know. Yeah. Who knows? Are there still other species of rhino? Yeah, there are other species of rhinos. It was just the yeah, just a very old, very ancient species of rhino. The northern white rhino. 55 million years. Pretty wild. Pan J, I don't know. Yeah, look at these big things. Look at these big lugs. Look at these big lads. Look at them, they're so big. Terrifyingly big. Look at this. They look like dinosaurs. I still can't believe these animals are real. They really don't look like they're real, do they? I mean, if you actually like think about it, they really don't look like they're real, you know? They look like they just look like I don't know, like they were made for a movie or something. They're just too big and ancient looking, you know? Yeah, they look like they're from like World of Warcraft or something. Like you're in the lower barrens and like here are the big rhinocerosuses, you know? The rhinocerosuses. Did they go extinct in part of poachers? I assume that's the main thing, yeah. Well, there are other species of rhino, but I mean that doesn't make it good. It just means that we're not done. Not done with rhinos entirely. Please remind chat not to be eco-fascist about this. What is there to be eco-fascist about? Do you know why there are so many poachers in Africa? Because European imperialism left those countries destitute. The only reason there are so many poachers is because there are so few opportunities and avenues for economic prosperity that that there are people there who are willing to engage in that behavior. Poaching, by the way, in Africa, in most parts of Africa, I'm speaking about a whole continent here, but in many countries in Africa, poaching is a potentially lethal job. Because there are anti-poaching rangers, and buddy, anti-poaching rangers do not issue a citation if they see you poaching. They have guns. They take the shot from a distance, okay? Yeah, no. They will shoot on sight. So the only reason like there are countries that have been reduced to that state is because there's like no other money to be made there, and these countries are destabilized enough that the governments can't really protect the populations of animals that are endangered. That's a product of imperialism. Definitely doesn't have anything to do with ecofascism. Wasn't there like an all-female group of poachers that I saw hit the front page of Reddit? Female anti-poachers, not. I saw this a while ago. It was some like volunteer group of anti. Oh, the Akashinga too. Yeah. I saw this. I thought it was cute. I don't know. Yeah, these are anti-poachers, okay? Those guns are for humans, not for animals. And they drive around, they keep the animals safe. And, well, Africa is a big goddamn place, so I don't even know if these women operated in the area that the northern white rhinoceros did, but, you know, the same general principle. Also, because Chinese folk medicine call for body parts of endangered species without evidence. Guys, China's not at fault here, okay? If Africa was anywhere near as stable as, like, European countries, then there would be no avenue for the Chinese market to, like, even profit off of poaching, okay? What would happen is Chinese folk medicine would say, hey, we want rhinoceros horns, and then all the African countries would go, no. And because their countries are economically thriving and robust and populous and wealthy with strong, you know, national governments, there would be no way to engage in like widespread poaching. Which is why there are plenty of endangered animals here in the United States, but poaching here is not as common. Our government is more stable, and therefore it is much harder to get away with it. Why is it that every time women shoot people, it's for based reasons and they're all beautiful? Holy shit, you're down bad. Oh my god. Jesus. Down horrendous today with these guys. Oh my god. Oh yeah, the reason why it was so noteworthy is they were abused women. They were like yeah, they were like, I don't know if they went to like if they were like from shelters or something like that, but the women were in a disadvantaged position, and then they went ahead and created an anti-poaching squad. Yeah, look at the goddamn guns these people carry. This isn't the same squad. These are men, but look at these. Jesus. I don't know. Can anyone identify the firearms being used here? Cuz I feel like they're large. They feel large. Are they M16s? M14s? I can't. I'm not a huge gun nut. I can't. They just look very big. Maybe these guys are short. I don't know. FN, FAL, and M16A2. I gotcha. Okay. Well, you know what? They look cool. I like their little fishing hats. Look, they're all Glocks, okay? How are we doing? Are we doing okay?
A GoFundMe launched by...
Yes! Up and down, Mr. Domino. Up and down. Galil. Oh, the Galil, that's right. Where's Vermin Hands? I don't know. Vermin Hands isn't obligated to watch every stream of mine. They're probably like making food or something.
Bosh bad, Bosh bad, Bosh bad.
Vosh, you need ad block? That's not an ad, that's the video. It just auto plays. All right. Are we ready to talk about other things? I don't think chat's ready. I don't think chat's ready. Matt Gates GoFundMe, I assume. You're so smart. You're such a smart little lad. Let me see if I can, let me get the Twitter thread up really quick. Let's talk about something new and interesting, like, say, your take on Kinkit Pride. Don't do this to me. Oh, Matt Walsh, not Matt Gates, sorry. Very, very different people. Well, not very different people. Just different people. I'm trying to find the original Twitter thread. Wait, I have everything but that. Where's the original? You know what's wild is that Hassan had the same take as you on the Kink at Pride and he got nowhere near the backlash. Yeah, you know why? Because Hassan appeals to normies and normal people agree with what I said, okay? The only people who took wrong of what I said are deranged fucking always online people who read into what I said the most uncharitable possible interpretation and got mad at me for it, okay? Whereas Hassan has a lot of more normie people, so they were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. All right. All right, chill out, people. Let's roll. Yeah, it's because I'm queer. You know why people hate me? Okay? You know why people hate me? Okay, first of all, because I'm queer-coded, pansexual, POC-coded, voted for Joe Biden, and disabled, autistic. All right? That's why people hate me. Matt Walsh. I think I've did a video on this guy before. I don't really remember. All conservatives. They look the same to me. Anyway. As you've heard, AOC's abuela is living in a dilapidated home that was ravaged by Hurricane Maria. AOC is unable to help her own grandma for whatever reason, so I have set up this GoFundMe campaign to save her home. Please give if you can. And then we have a GoFundMe that raised about $100,000 before it got frozen. Why did it get frozen? It got frozen because the recipients of the GoFundMe campaign said they didn't want the money. So what's taking place here? What kind of wacky shenanigans are taking place here, you know? So basically what happened here was here. AOC posted photos of her grandmother's house in Puerto Rico in a state of disrepair. Okay? And immediately Matt Walsh, the aforementioned fellow here, in an attempt to shame AOC, made a GoFundMe. Essentially saying like, oh, you know, AOC won't help her grandma, but like we all will, and all this big conservative outpour, you know. Matt Walsh kicked $499, which apparently happens to be the cost of a monthly lease payment for a Tesla. I think this is because AOC has a Tesla, and then if you go through, I mean, this was quite a big thing. People, oh, you know, we'll help instead of AOC. AOC won't help her grandma, but we will. That sort of thing. And I challenge the premise here, by the way, fundamentally, because if you live in a house and your house is in disrepair, no matter how much money you have, that's something that takes a while to fix. Like, what essentially the narrative that they're trying to procure here is that AOC is heartless and greedy and doesn't want to help out her grandma, which is a completely irrational narrative to arrive at from the information that her grandma's house is in a state of disrepair. What if the grandma didn't want to take AOC's money? What if the grandma was already in the process of repairing it and they were already using money to do that? What if the grandma didn't feel it necessary to repair it and was looking to like maybe stay temporarily at another place while another set of arrangements go through? We don't know because it was never said. AOC just posted pictures of her abuela's house as evidence that Puerto Rico has not recovered appropriately from Hurricane Maria, that America needs to do more, etc., which is true, by the way. The real narrative here is that Puerto Rico has received a wildly insubstantial amount of aid following Hurricane Maria, you know? Yeah, AOC has sought for legislation to address the root cause. AOC has tried to fix the fundamental problem. If the right-leaning people actually cared, they would gather some money for Puerto Rico. But no, they gather money for AOC's grandma. The reason they do this, it's a kind of concern trolling, you know, like, oh, you won't help her, but we will. But again, there's really no evidence of AOC not doing good to her grandma here. And then, of course, you know, they don't accept the money. In the end, our campaign raised $100,000 and could have solved a problem in 10 hours that AOC couldn't solve in 4 years. I don't know what this is a reference to. We can all be proud of that. As for Abuela, all we can do now is pray. Update. Someone in AOC's Abuela's family told GoFundMe she won't take the money, even though AOC previously claimed her grandma was in dire straits and it was Trump's fault. So this is the hurricane was 4 years ago. Yeah, she's only been in Congress for 2 years. Yeah, the matter of like rebuilding the house. The problem is like, have you guys ever engaged in home repair? Like long-term home repair following some kind of like black mold or rot or like water damage or the result of a hurricane or something like that. Not only is this process expensive, it's very long-standing and money isn't always the immediate solution. For example, in Puerto Rico, maybe they don't have enough contractors to actually do enough fixing up, you know? Maybe demand is stretched really, 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 really thin. Supply is stretched really thin because of incredibly high demand because of all the damage done after Hurricane Maria, to which essentially no federal resources have been dedicated. There's just no way of knowing? So again, this is a completely meaningless attempt at concern trolling. Anyway, the money will not be accepted. When a beneficiary doesn't want to accept the funds that have been raised on their behalf, it is standard practice to turn off donations, then refuse all donors. We recommend posting an update on the fundraiser to let your donors know they will be fully refunded within the next couple of days, etc., blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on. So I got to say this much, okay? And now this is just my opinion. Even if I was living in a dilapidated house, I mean, truly, truly dilapidated, absolutely torn apart. If I had a granddaughter who was a congresswoman, widely loved by the left, widely hated by the right, and is part of some cynical concern troll, just some inhumane, completely insincere attempt to smear my granddaughter. They raised money for me? Yeah, I would have turned that down. I would turn that down. Yeah, absolutely I would. You kidding me? Is that you joking? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not on my life. Would I just accept that money, you know? Absolutely not. You turn down 100K from a group of fascists who are doing it expressly to besmirch, to smear my concerns and smear my granddaughter? Look, okay? I had grandparents. They were pretty rough and tumble people. Maybe I'm too much of a millennial pussy to do it. I bet you they wouldn't take the money either, all right? It's not even a matter of optics. It's a matter of pride. Can you really blame them for that? Seriously? Caring for the family? Why not funnel it all to an LGBT organization? That's not how GoFundMe works. You can't take money for a given cause and then spend it on something completely different. You have to spend it on the intended thing. Or otherwise, you have, like, you know, you run afoul of problems. So no, refunds it'll be. Anyway, this was just an incredibly cynical optics move that the right attempted to pull, and they will probably for a long time now say that AOC was the one who turned down the GoFundMe because she was embarrassed that she spends billions of dollars every single hour on her fleet of Teslas and that her grandma is living in some sort of cardboard shack somewhere in Puerto Rico. Which, to be fair, this is all basically the kind of stuff they were saying about AOC beforehand anyways. That's so dumb, though. She didn't ask for money to be given to her. She should be able to spend it however. No, it doesn't work like that. If it goes towards a cause, it has to go towards that cause. Think about it, okay? Imagine if somebody made a GoFundMe to help, like, a prominent internet personality who had a cancer diagnosis, and then they got the money, and then they spent all of it on, like, drugs and not the cancer diagnosis. You think people might be a little mad? That anger is very bad for GoFundMe's PR. So that's why they have those terms of service policies. Based, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay? Yeah, Charles Olmsted. The funny thing is, the reason why Puerto Rico is in dire straits is because the right wing of the American government, the Republicans, the Trump administration, they refused to give proper aid and wealth to Puerto Rico following Hurricane Maria. Even now, 4 years later, it's like a third world country over there in some places because we just let it devastate the country, the consequences of climate change, and then they did nothing about it. So these people will cynically ignore the broader problem, deny the existence of the broader problem, but then hyperfixate on AOC's grandma to try to smear in some sort of slimy partisan effort. I think it's absolutely shameful. I think it's disgusting. And I think this is exactly the kind of reprehensible behavior that you would expect to see from people on the far right, attempting to cynically take advantage of perceived and extrapolated family tragedies in order to get cheap one-ups on politicians who they don't like because those politicians advocate for a better world. There we go. We got our performative denunciation. Make a comment about Nico Lowell's drama for normie bait.
Bosh bad. Bosh bad.
Do we really have to talk about this?
Bosh bad. Bosh bad. Bosh bad.
Is Nico Lowell even a socialist? Is Nico Lowell even actually a socialist, or is she just like a Sokdem, like Bernie supporter? Yeah, I think she's just a Sokdem. She wore a shirt saying "tax the rich" and that's it. Yeah, it's pretty stupid. Unironically, I think anyone who's making fun of Nico Lowell for supposed hypocrisy here is like pretty low IQ. If you say you should tax the rich, but then later you become rich, that's not hypocritical. You still assuming Nico Lowell still wants taxes to be raised, unless like Nico Lowell became rich and then no longer wanted taxes to be raised. I don't see the hypocrisy here, like at all. You know? Bosh, did you say Hasanabi saying anarchists should be purged from his community, and soon after he said he had no problem with MLism? First of all, Kvi, we've already established you're a dumb fuck, so I don't really trust you. And second of all, no disrespect to the guy, does Hassan know shit about, like, different leftist theories and, like, the nuances of their... I've never seen Hassan discuss anything like that, like, ever, at any point. Yeah. So, I don't really care. It's fine. Hassan didn't say that, ignore that moron. Yeah, see, that's the reason why we keep people with dumb fuck opinions in chat. It's so we remember the usernames. You like Hassan? Yeah. He has a master's in poli-sci. Wait, Hassan has a master's in poli-sci? Is that true? I didn't know that. Is that actually true? Bachelor's? Wait, bachelor's. Okay, yeah, I was thinking. I think I would remember if Hassan was a graduate. Wait, is he? Yeah, hold on, wait. Hassan Pecker. Education. One day I will have a Wikipedia article. Personal life. I don't see an education section here. Guess he never went to school. Don't you? No, I briefly had one, but they deleted it for lack of relevance. We have to be more relevant first, okay? Uh-oh. Do we have molding Redditors? Oh no. All right. Guys, somebody typed up a paragraph on Reddit. What do you guys want to bet? That this person mischaracterizes my views in a way that's, like, incredibly obvious and anybody should be able to avoid if they even slightly listen to me, okay? Bosch's segment today. No bully. Bosch's segment today, Andy No, is extremely disgusting. I want to clarify, I'm not a drama/leftist inflating person. I'm a person who is directly involved with all this Andy No bullshit, and seeing Vosh behavior during the Andy segment today was fucking gross. Vosh tacitly defended Andy's behavior in quite a few ways. Interesting. I condemned his behavior in every conceivable way. There was literally no element of his behavior that I defended at any point in time. All while making a mock baby voice for literally anyone who was in the opposite position of Andy or anyone who didn't hold Vosh's own position. To be fair, I do this for everything. If you don't share my position, you get the baby voice. Note, I'm not saying that the Antifa on the ground should have caused him physical violence. Oh! Oh, interesting. You don't, do you? Man, if only you had listened a little bit more to what I was saying, you might agree with the point that I was making. But Vosh's direct suggestions were to ask him to ooh-woo, kindly leave please, and that's it. Wait, how can you impugn me for doing a mock baby voice to people who I disagree with, and then do a mock baby voice while mischaracterizing the position that I gave? No, my suggestion was to name and shame him, record him, and force him out of the group. This suggestion of behavior is ridiculous, if only I actually suggested it. because Andy's mere presence is a direct threat to people who I know personally, and to ask those people to not escalate to any behavior beyond puppy dog eyes and passing Andy a note to check a box saying I will leave is insane. What? Why do people write this? Like, what relationship is there between this and the position that I hold? Why can you not respond to the things I say? Can you stop being a leftist, please? Can you go and be right-leaning? Can you please go and be right-leaning so you can go make their movement stupider? Can you stop being left-leaning? Can you stop, please? I beg of you, please, please, please. You're harming your own movement here, okay? If you care about Antifa and trans lives and black lives, okay, then you need to be a not leftist. You need to shut up because you're making it way harder for everyone else, okay? This isn't even upvoted. Nobody takes them seriously. Yeah, I'm specifically criticizing this one person, not the broader community. All right, we have to... people be like, Vosh's takes are harmful. What he should have said is Vosh's exact take. Yeah, I saw that on GamerGazi recently, one of the progressive subreddits, where a person posted an article about how the kink on pride discourse was like an alt-right psyop, which some parts of it are, but not my part. One person basically sub-quoted me, like, notable lefty streamer, and then another person was like, you know, I don't like the no kink at pride thing, but I do understand, like, maybe not doing overtly sexual things in front of children, and everyone agreed with them. And I wanted to tear my hair out. I can't do this anymore. It's like, you know, that kink at pride discourse that Vosh engaged in was disgusting and reprehensible and far right. If he had toned it down a little bit and just said that he thinks that, you know, we probably shouldn't do overtly sexual stuff in front of children, then okay, maybe that would be reasonable, but yeah. Okay. We're good. We're good. I feel good. Okay? I feel good. We're good. We're good. It's okay. We're good. Oh, God. It's just... Kink can mean anything to people. Yeah, so let's talk about it. I actually saw... Wait, one last thing. One last thing, okay? I actually saw people saying, like, well, by kink, some people mean that being trans is a kink. So no trans people at Pride, huh? Ooh, well, you know, some people say that teaching children about the existence of gay people is pedophilia. So I guess now when people say they don't like pedophilia, you have to jump in and say that's homophobic, right? No, you have to be charitable. Please. 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 Hand-holding should be banned in public. I think being white is a kink. True! Nobody would choose to be white, okay? If like, nobody would choose to be white if there wasn't some sort of sexual proclivity towards it, okay? Obviously. There's more to it than that. All right, you people can't keep me away from Tom Macdonald. But I mean, you literally had Shu saying drag is too adult. Yeah, and then you literally had me saying, nah, drag isn't inherently sexual. Nothing wrong with it. What? Are we the same person? Tom Macdonald Snowflake. I need the lyrics because we can't actually watch the damn thing. So we'll get copyright claimed. People, my friends, Tom Macdonald Snowflakes. Ooh, the fire beat or something. Tom equals trash. This is a very high effort sign the prop department put in for. What was the budget of this music video? Anyway, 2 million views in like one day. Apparently it went big, you know? It went big. As much as I'd love to watch it with you guys, I'll get copyright claimed if I watch it. So I don't want to do that. We can appreciate the imagery. You know, here we've got some kind of sex doll gimp suit. We've got Hassan Piker level body proportions to head size. I don't know if this is appropriate snowwear. Still not appropriate snowwear. It's still not. It's still not appropriate. Okay, there we go. But it's not snowing, and now we're wearing the coat. Okay. Really, that is a very large coat. That Tom equals trash sign just makes me so happy. If I ever do like a diss track rap music video, I want to have just people holding up like big paper rectangles. Vosh equals dumb, you know? And like the just a whole bunch of that. You called Blair White a sex doll? Wait, that was Blair White? Oh, I just said it because of the like the pert lips bulging out of the like the hole in the thing like this, you know? Oh shit, that's actually Blair White. Oh shit. The turnaround. Well, hello, Blair. Oh, we've gone too sexist. Well, I mean, Blair White deliberately does the bimbo look thing, right? So isn't that a compliment? I don't know. Anyway. And then apparently the video was by a Rockefeller. Makes you curious. Anyway, let's find out what all the magic's about. Here we have the genius.com lyrics. We've even got explanations of the lyrics, okay? I'm not going to rap them, folks. I'm going to rap them a little bit. If you lie to the government, they'll put you in prison. But when they lie to all of us, it's called being a politician. You think taking guns away will save our kids from the killings, but you're pro-choice. Abortion kills way more children. Okay. If America's so terrible and racist, it probably isn't safe to encourage immigration. Just saying. What? All the contradictions are embarrassing. We got to do the whole, what's it called? A stanza? And then we got to do it. Okay, hold on. All the contradictions are embarrassing. You know who hates America the most? Americans. Trigger warnings used to be on TV for seizures, and now they're everywhere to protect millennials' feelings. He, she, him, his, hers, they, them. They. Screw a pronoun because everyone's a retard these days. I hear him preaching at the protest that hatred's a problem, but hating straight men, white folks, and Christian is common. Coca-Cola telling I feel like I'm actually close to how he raps it in the song. Coca-Cola telling people they should be less white. They preach intolerance, but if you disagree, they fight. There's a race war here, elections based on fear. Black lives only matter once every 4 years. Soldiers die for this country, and every one of us benefits. Give welfare to the bums and forget about the veterans. Black folks and white folks divided by the news, but we're all the same. We're red, white, and blue. Ashamed to be American? Okay, that's cool. Because honestly, we're all ashamed of you too. Okay. I feel like I delivered that about as well as he probably did in the video, which I haven't seen. He's not even American. Yeah, he's a Canadian. Why are there so many cringe Canadians mussing around in our politics? Okay. Let's analyze this content, okay? It's time for Anthony Fantano time. We're getting in, we're diving deep, okay? So, I've noticed this with Tom Macdonald, okay? What Tom Macdonald will do, there are a couple of strategies that he'll engage in, and you can see these done to a T here. I mean, pretty much perfect. First of all, Tom Macdonald will spout every conservative talking point, but then appeal disingenuously to this, like, come on, man, let's drop the fight. We're all Americans here. You know, like, come on, man, you know, the media, the politicians are trying to screw us over. We need to work together. But then he'll also express, like, every far-right talking point that's meant to denounce the other side. So it's a way of appealing to, like, reaching across the aisle, but he's really not. And the other thing he likes to do is he likes to wildly overstate the existence of social problems as a kind of snowflakey victim culture thing. Funny, that's the name of the song, actually. He's kind of a snowflake. I don't know if that's intentional or whatever, but he overstates like everything that he could use as an example of victimization being driven against him, you know? And basically the narrative is like he's like this oppressed guy who's being beaten up on by the system, beaten up on by the far left, but he's reaching out to you, and you just got to take his hand, man. So anyway, that's like, those are the patterns that we're going to see, and let's see how that goes. If you lie to the government, they'll put you in prison, but when they lie to all of us, it's called being a politician. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. You think taking guns away will save our kids from the killings, but you're pro-choice. Abortion kills way more children. So, I mean, this is just like a standard pro-choice line. Keep in mind, by the way, that he's talking about like freedom from government tyranny in the first pair, but then in the second pair, he's saying that, essentially implying that the government should restrict women from being able to exercise their bodily autonomy and be pro-choice. So, you know, anti-government tyranny, but we'll have like detectives arrive at your house if you have suspicious miscarriages, and we will also arrest doctors who perform abortions, you know. If America's so terrible and racist, it probably isn't safe to encourage immigration, just saying. This is a non sequitur. It does not necessarily follow. America can be terrible and racist in some ways, but it can still be preferable for people who want to immigrate. So, for example, it's true that America has a lot of problems. However, there are also a lot of benefits. And I think that there are a lot of people from Mexico who might find that as terrible as America is, it's actually kind of worse over there. So, the argument essentially here, there are two of them. One is anti-immigration, which I reject. Immigration's cool. And the second one is, because other countries have worse issues, we shouldn't fix what's going on in America, which is obviously stupid. America could be the best country on earth. It's not, but it could be. And even if it was, we should still work tirelessly to improve it day after day. All the contradictions are embarrassing. Agreed. You know who hates America the most? Americans. Don't like Iranians? Trigger warnings used to be on TV for seizures. Now they're everywhere to protect millennials' feelings. This is actually incorrect. As somebody who consumes modern media, no, trigger warnings aren't everywhere. If by everywhere you mean they're on Twitter posts made by 14-year-olds talking about like spoilers from their latest TV show episode, sure. But in terms of the actual media that's coming out, not really. What you see more often is content warnings for like flashing lights and seizures. Basically the same thing he's saying used to be okay. So that's still a thing. Also, millennials are now 40 years old. Do you mean like Zoomers? He, she, him, his, hers, them, they. These aren't even neopronouns. These are existing pronouns. Screw a pronoun because everyone's a retard these days. Based line, no complaints with it. I hear him preaching at the protest that hatred's a problem, but hating straight men, white folks, and Christians is common. So this, to me, this is the snowflake-like BS that Tom Macdonald is trying to sell. You know, the left, they say hatred is bad, but they hate straight white Christian men. Come on. There are people on the left who are straight white Christian men, okay? The idea that straight white Christian men are being attacked all over the place is complete fabrication. Conservatives love to play up this victim culture nonsense, like, everyone hates us, this straight women. No, they don't. You're still disproportionately represented in basically every single, like, position of power, and culturally, you're still broadly appealed to. Like, so what Tom Macdonald is essentially saying is, lefties say hatred's a problem, but I see kids on Twitter making jokes about, like, Mayocide, and, like, these are comparable in some ways. You'll notice that when Black Lives Matter's protests, they're not protesting about some nebulous, like, people being mean to black people. They protest, like, specific policies and institutional biases that hurt them. Coca-Cola telling people they should be less white. I knew conservatives would get hung up over this forever. I knew conservatives would get hung up over this absolutely forever. Okay? There's one PowerPoint slide given to a set of Coca-Cola employees which said that people should be less white in the sense they should engage in less whiteness. And I know that Robin DiAngelo is a hack who I despise. But that's not representative. Is Coca-Cola the left? They preaching tolerance, but if you disagree, they fight? I don't, what does this mean? This means nothing. Imagine it's 1941 in America, and you're a congressperson arguing against fighting the Axis powers. You claim to believe in tolerance, but when Nazis disagree with you, you fight them. Hypocrisy much? Except you would say it in like a 1940s radio voice, right? You claim to preach tolerance, but if you disagree with the Nazis, I can't help but notice that you are still positively inclined towards violence against them. Or something like that, you know? Like, this is meaningless. There's a race war here, elections based on fear. There's no race war here. That might be the narrative you want, but there isn't. Black Lives Matter has white people protesting right alongside them. No disagreements, no problems. Elections are based on fear, though. Funny, by the way, you would say elections based on fear when Donald Trump, his entire campaign re-election strategy was terrifying his base in every possible way. That Black Lives Matter would burn down the suburbs, that the election was being stolen from him. Like, you have no pretense whatsoever upon which to say that elections are based on fear without calling out the fact that your president was the one doing it. Biden didn't do that. Biden's rhetorical strategy was mostly positive. We need to get together and work on this coronavirus problem. We need to get together and build America back. We need to work on infrastructure and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Biden actually did very little fear-mongering during the election. Trump did the fear-mongering. Black lives only matter once every 4 years. All political issues get drummed up more during the 4-year political cycle. That's just a fact. That's not black lives. That's everything. Abortion lives only matter once every 4 years. White lives only matter once every 4 years. Veterans only matter once. This is everything. Everything gets drummed up every 4 years. Soldiers died for this country and every one of us benefits. Oh, yeah. Even the Republican Party has abandoned the idea that the Iraq and Afghanistanian wars were good for us. Give welfare to the bums and forget about the veterans. Hey, my dude, a lot of those bums are veterans. And the people advocating for better veteran care are Democrats. Republicans always do this. They're like, you want to give money to the homeless? Why not give money to the veterans? And then you say, okay, let's give money to the veterans. And the Republicans tell you to go fuck yourself. Yeah, Trump cut the VA. This is like absolutely meaning. Like, again, Republicans do not actually care about soldiers or veterans. They want you to die quietly overseas so you can't live to come back here and protest for your rights. Black folks and white folks divided by the news, I guess. But we are all the same. We are red, white, and blue. You're Canadian. Ashamed to be American, that's cool, because honestly, we are all ashamed of you too. Okay, this is like bipartisan. This can apply to anything. The chorus. Y'all are so fake, oh no. The forecast said there'd be snowflakes, whoa. Is this real? I really hope he raps this in a way that makes these lines convincing. Can I try that again? Y'all are so fake, oh no. The forecast said there'd be snowflakes, whoa. No, snowflakes, whoa. There we go. I have to try to hit this. Y'all are so fake, oh no. The forecast said there'd be snowflakes, whoa. No, damn, I can't. I'm not a singer, fuck you. You can make us see it your way, no way. Your way, no way. Gasoline and propane, more flames, oh no. No more snowflakes. Wait, there's no way you can rap this to make it not sound like crap. I'm sorry. Wait, I'm running the parallel universe calculators in my head right now, and I cannot fathom a way that this sounds that good. Listen to it, Vosh. No, I can't. I'd have to listen to it with it muted, and I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Okay, hold on. Okay, we've got another verse to hit, okay? Maybe it's sung? I mean, maybe. I think the lyrics kind of suck. I think it sucks just a little bit. Okay, hold on. Now we're doing the whole verse, then we're breaking it down. They set us up to fail. That's what they built the system for. Put an ammunition shop across the street from a liquor store. Empowering women used to be different than this before. The role models got OnlyFans or dance on a stripper pole. Pull and before don't rhyme. Pull and store? Dude, you have to make it rhyme. These aren't even half rhymes or partial rhymes. These are completely not... Okay. Screw it. I ain't tripping. I don't mean to be mean. But if our children are the future, then our future is bleak. He needs to hit us with the lyrical, spiritual individual. They're taking Adderall to focus, hit McDonald's to eat. They're addicted to phones. They take Xanax to sleep. Oh my God, boomer. They blur the lines dividing communism and democracy. In 2021, we paint the patriots as Nazis. The men playing women's sports get trophies for winning. Like, great, let's celebrate a man for beating some women. If you're black, your life matters. You're supposed to embrace it. If you're rich or you're smart, then you're probably Asian? Okay, we'll break this down in a second. If you're gay, then you're brave. All of that I'm okay with. But if you're white, the stereotype is that you are a racist. blaming capitalism like that's the reason things are tough. When you tweet from an iPhone and sip on a Starbucks, I can't. This is like every meme. This is every meme. iPhone vuvuzela. iPhone vuvuzela. iPhone 100 bajillion dead every second. This is the meme. You're supporting what you stand against. Don't think that you are, but you don't think that you are, but like the socialists haven't considered that they're giving Starbucks money when they buy Starbucks. Like Tom Macdonald could hit him in the street with that, walk up and be like, yo, when you buy Starbucks, that money goes to Starbucks, yo. And the lefty's like, oh, no way, that can't be true. That can't be true. A Percocet a dick, don't donate money to pharma. Damn dog, we're all afraid to speak to the truth. The more afraid we get, the more we hate the ones who do. You're ashamed to be American. Okay, that's cool, because honestly, we're all ashamed of you too. And then and then we just have a bridge at the end. I think this is the last like real content here. Okay, let's do it. They set us up to fail. That's what they built the system for. Put an ammunition shop across the street from a liquor store. I'm not entirely sure. So this is one of those like right populist takes that I think deludes a lot of lefties. Because when you listen to this, it's like, oh, dude, based. You believe the free market is leading people towards adverse outcomes. When in reality, this doesn't actually mean anything. If I walked up to Tom Macdonald and asked him to explain this, he would drool on me. He has no like ideological synthesis from this. There's no broader policy prescriptions. There's absolutely nothing. He would just sort of like blubber a little bit and maybe like cough up a tooth onto the ground. This doesn't actually mean anything. It's just populist like virtue signaling. Empowering women used to be different than this before. The role models got OnlyFans or dance on a stripper pole. I don't really know what this is supposed to mean. Like, feminism used to empower women, but now there's OnlyFans? Sex work has existed for a long time. This is nothing new. Screw it, I ain't tripping. I don't mean to be mean. This is a filler line. But if our children are the future, then our future is bleak. They're taking Adderall to focus, hit McDonald's to eat. They're addicted to phones. They take Xanax to sleep. These are like decade-old boomer talking points. I feel like the easiest refutation of this is that isn't Tom Macdonald supposed to be like edgy? Look at this guy. This guy looks at you, looks right at you. Look at how edgy he is. He looks right at you, he opens his mouth, and then he repeats verbatim the contents of a like Saturday morning cartoon strip written by a person who's 80 years old, you know? Look at that. Like this guy's like, oh, he's got like the skeleton hoodie and like the dreads and shit, and he opens his mouth and he's like, does anyone else think kids on their iPhone too much these days? Like, like seriously. I mean, I could argue against this politically, but I don't like what even is this argument? Also, who are you meant to be criticizing here? You know? Yeah, wiggity, yo. Because the funny thing is that I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that like Adderall addiction or like Adderall overprescription is most common in the wealthy suburbs that were most likely to vote for Trump. Is this meant to be like a denunciation of like left-leaning snowflakes? Because none of this has nothing to do with like the right or the left wing. This is just like boomer millennial bad talk. I'm pretty sure Tom Macdonald's a millennial, by the way. I'm not actually... Hold on. Tom Macdonald. How old is he? I need, like, the Wikipedia article, not the song. Thank you. Born 1988. Yeah, he's a millennial. Okay. He's only 6 years older than I am. He's 33 or 34 or something. I mean, in the ballpark. He's 32? Okay, in the ballpark. Yeah. Anyway, they blur the lines dividing communism and democracy. Again, this doesn't mean anything. When Republicans or conservatives say communism, that doesn't actually mean anything. It's just like a word they get scared at and pee their pants at. In 2021, we paint the patriots as Nazis. Well, a lot of those patriots actually are Nazis. So, I mean, look, a lot. I've talked to some people online here. They call themselves patriots, but they sure do believe a lot of the same things as Nazis. The men playing women's sports get trophies for winning. Like, great, let's celebrate a man for beating some women. I mean, this is standard, like, trans women playing in sports, blah, blah, dialogue. Again, funny, as though there's some worldwide or, like, countrywide epidemic of trans women crushing athletic events, which isn't happening. Oh, yeah, do you think Blair White wrote this one? Yeah. By the way, I like how Blair White, a trans woman, appeared in a music video which doesn't say trans women playing women's sports. It says men playing women's sports. So, hold on. See this person right here? This is a man, according to Tom Macdonald. Sorry for appealing to intuition here, but like this, according to Tom Macdonald, according to the language expressed in the song right there, this right here is a man that we're looking at. And Blair agreed to appear. I think that Blair will just agree to be a part of any project where a white guy will tell her that she's not a real woman. That's my opinion. That's her pay fee. You know, you'd be, hey, I'll pay you $20,000 to appear in my music video. And Blair's like, no, I just want you to be transphobic at me. I think that explains, don't kink shame. I'm kink shaming a little bit here. Anyway. And then we got the big stanza here. If you're black, your life matters. True. You're supposed to embrace it. Yes, do embrace that your life matters. If you're rich or you're smart, then you're probably Asian. I genuinely don't know. Can I get Genius to explain this to me? This is Tom commenting on multiple stereotypes that black, Asian, LGBTQ, and white people face on a daily basis. So he's just talking about stereotypes? Hold on. If you're... Wait, first of all, how is it a stereotype to say Black Lives Matter? If you're black, your life matters, you're supposed to embrace it? Is that a stereotype about black people? Like you see a black guy down the street and you're like, oh man, that guy's life probably matters. What? And then with the Asian stereotype, wouldn't you say something like, if you're Asian, you're considered rich and smart? He's not calling out the stereotype. He's just doing the stereotype. Saying if you're rich or you're smart, you're probably Asian makes it sound like he's affirming the stereotype, not pointing it out for criticism. If you're gay, then you're brave. Is that the stereotype of gay people? That they're brave? We're not talking about stereotypes here. We have a line where we refer to the empowerment of black people. Empowerment is not a stereotype. Then we have a stereotype about Asian people, but instead of commenting on it, he just says it. And then we have empowerment for gay people. Again, not a stereotype. Empowerment. And then when it comes to white people, he goes back to the stereotype marking. I don't necessarily know if there's any like broader analysis that I can do here. The only thing I really have to say is that Tom Macdonald is an atrocious songwriter. This is really, really, really bad lyrical construction. If the point here was that you're supposed to be running down stereotypes of like minorities and they're all positive, but then the stereotype for white people is negative, that they're racist, and you could make a point out of that, by the way, if you were to phrase it well, these lyrics don't do a good job of explaining that at all. Like they don't. Even slightly. It's just really, he's just kind of bad at his job, you know? But if you're white, the stereotype is that you're racist. I think that, well, it's true that a lot of white people just get written off as being racist. But I think that, like, for the most part, it's just Republicans get written off for being racist. Like, isn't that the broader stereotype? In my opinion, at least. I mean, I'm totally okay assuming that Republicans are racist because I believe it. When it comes to, like, white people, I mean, white people are more likely to be Republican, I guess. But, I mean, I'll denounce it. If you think that all white people are racist or whatever, or, like, you're okay morally condemning all white people because they're white, because white people have a higher likelihood of being racist, I think that's bigoted and not cool. Now, it's okay to be bigoted against Republicans because you're not being bigoted against a racial group that people were born into. You're being bigoted against the definite and material choice that people made to be worse people. That's okay. Go for it. You can call them racist if you want. All right. And now we have iPhone Vuvuzela. Blaming capitalism like that's the reason things are tough. While you tweet from an iPhone and sip on a Starbucks, you're supporting what you stand against. You don't think you are, but the thing that really nails me about this line is that it's a rehearse of literally the oldest, most trite, most overdone, most stereotypical criticism of lefties. And then he ends it with, "You don't think you are, but," like he's hitting them with some kind of like unfathomable truth that they've never imagined before. Like he's hitting them with straight facts, you know, that they didn't consider. It's the arrogance that does it for me. You know what I mean? Like not like it, you know what I mean? Oh God. A Percocet addict don't donate money to pharma. I mean, if they're a Percocet addict, wouldn't they be buying stuff that would go to pharma? Addict, sorry, not addict. Addict. Wait, if you're an addict and you're buying it, wouldn't the money go to pharma? Right? I mean, they're not donating money, but buying a Starbucks coffee isn't donating money to Starbucks. You're buying it. Well, damn, dog. We're all afraid to speak the truth. Republicans are, because if they do, they get kicked out of their party. You see what happened with you see what happened with oh, what was her name? I'm blanking right now. Where they voted her off the committees. What was the Liz Cheney? Yeah. And the more afraid we get, the more we hate the ones who do. You're ashamed to be American. Okay, that's cool, because honestly, we're all ashamed of you too. Nice meme. Okay, and then we have the chorus again, which again I think is still pretty meaningless. It's funny this is called Snowflake, but it's literally just him complaining about stuff. Yeah, no, this is like, that's the, again, like, I don't know how self-referential this is meant to be. It really is just him complaining about stuff. And he's such a bad songwriter.
Bosh bad. Bosh bad.
And then the bridge. We could all get along, but there's no stopping A. Are we're really just going to rhyme it with A? Okay. And then I think he's going to do to like the appeal to the middle ground thing now, even though the classic strategy. Could you provide evidence that Trump wanted to cut the budget for the VA? Yeah, wait, hold on. President Trump's budget hurts veterans through extreme cuts to crucial programs. Oh, these are through cuts to the ACA and Medicare, SNAP, and other things. A lot of programs that veterans rely on. So I think maybe it wasn't that he cut VA, it's that he cut all of the stuff that veterans depend on, but then he like put up Veterans Affairs a little bit more. Yeah, I think he slightly increased VA funding, but then he cut all of the adjacent programs. So in practice, things got worse for veterans. Okay, I think that's a meaningful distinction, yeah. Budget plan calls for an increased VA funding. He cut programs that help people, like reintegrating job training and stuff. Yeah. Well, that's the virtue signal, right? Throw a couple of dollars to the actual Veterans Affairs program, but then cut all of the adjacent systems. So you still get to hurt veterans, but people don't call you out in it. Anyway, we could all get along, but there's no stopping. A, everybody's wrong. That's a real problem. A, stopping and problem. No, stopping and talking. Those don't rhyme either. Ugh. They don't want to hear, but they still talking. A, soon enough we're running out of options. A, this ain't gonna end till it's in the coffin. A, we ain't gonna be friends till we try to squash it. A, I don't know how we can make amends, so we drop it. Snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid. This is so bad. How do you make money doing this? I could write a better song than this. I don't know if I could sing it very well, but whew. Was there a single rhyme in there? Problem and options aren't a real rhyme. Stopping and talking aren't a real rhyme. Coffin and squash it? Seriously? Squash it and drop it aren't rhymes either. And hot kid also isn't a rhyme. Nothing in the bridge rhymes. He rhymed A with A. I guess that's why he had the A's in there. Did he? A, you know, bring it in. It's like my rap song where I just say a bunch of a sentence, but I end it with gabagooey. We could all get along, but there's no stopping. A gabagooey. Everything's wrong. That's a real problem. A gabagooey. They don't want to hear, but they still talking. A gabagooey. Soon enough, we're running out of options. A gabagooey. You know, and then, hey, everything rhymes. This is great. Okay, so anyway, yeah, a really bad song. Not, I mean, set aside the politics. Its construction is really bad. It fails embarrassingly at making the points that it attempts to make, and the political points that it attempts to make are also really, really, really bad. But this is the type of stuff that conservatives really need and really appeal to, you know? Quippy, zero thought, zero effort engagement that just reaffirms their biases and keeps them from thinking. Conservatives have trouble thinking. Pretty much every available piece of psychological and sociological evidence we have indicates that conservatism correlates with lower intelligence. That is true, by the way. We've done those studies on stream before. Not only lower intelligence, lower IQ, lower levels of education, lower levels of permissibility for change, higher degrees of fear, higher degrees of paranoia. It's like everything, you know, across the board. So they would like this. This is their jam, you know? This guy, he looks kind of like Vanilla Ice a little bit, doesn't he? You know? Right now, a little bit. Look at the comments. It's like Thomas Sowell became white and a hardcore rapper. It's about time. Thomas Sowell is the guy, by the way, who back during pre-civil rights America said that civil rights protesters who were black were like exaggerating problems that weren't real. Like he was literally a second-class citizen, and he looked at black civil rights protesters and he was like, oh, it's not a real thing. And he's pretty much been the same way ever since, which is the reason why no real economists actually take him seriously. And he's mostly popular in like YouTube debate circles. Very, very good. Also, Thomas Sowell becoming white? Curious. Anyway, great lyrics as usual. How can y'all hate this man? Rappers rap about killing people all the time. You can't take rap seriously, bro. Yeah, most rappers don't try to make some sort of concerted political statement that then gets lauded by all the people on their side of the aisle. If like 10 XXX Tentacion wrote a rap and it was like the lefty rap and all the lefties came out and they were like, "You're a god, XXX Tentacion. This represents my political beliefs. You're based." Then I would also probably make fun of that. Probably also speak ill of that a little bit. Vosh, he's dead. I don't know many rappers, okay? Tom spits more truth in a few minutes than the mainstream media does over the course of a year. Yeah, it being a rap doesn't mean you get to say incorrect, stupid shit. And then people are like, true, king? Well, anyway. We took our fun. We pulled it apart. We missed Blair's comment. Uh-oh. Oh, whoops, that's not how you spell. Oh my god, Tom, thank you so much for putting me in this video where you said trans women are men. This is an honor and one of the coolest things I've ever done. Everything came out so amazing. And then Tom Macdonald replied at some point, but I have to go down because the YouTube comment section, the way that works is complicated. Anyway, yeah, fun stuff, right? Really good stuff. Really glad conservatives are into that, you know? This is like the lyrical equivalent of like, you know, round peg, round hole. And I'm glad they're having fun with it. The horror of teaching critical race theory to kids. Oh, haven't we seen this guy? Wasn't this guy like the really, really creepy like skit YouTuber who was also like he was like a cult leader who sold like supplements or something? Yeah, I think this guy is actually mentally unwell. Awaken with JP appeals to the exact same audience as Tom Macdonald. Yeah, obviously. Conservatives are into this type of stuff. I mean, he looks pretty crazy here, I guess. But yeah, grab your natural dental detox kit. Yeah, I think this guy joined my Awakened Warriors email list. Yeah, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure this guy does some really, really weird stuff.
Bosh bad. Bosh bad. Bosh bad.
Well. Okay. Is that a soap? I don't know. I do not know. Yeah, but I don't know. He isn't really a conservative, just a very young boomer. No, this guy's a conservative. We've seen some of his stuff before. He's definitely a conservative. Or, again, I think he's insane. But his insanity trends here. Fauci, public enemy number one. You know what? Let's just watch. How to worship fear, why we should defund the police. And look, see, he's standing behind like a ruined city. When a liberal finally becomes conservative, are you seriously telling me he's not conservative? Do we make fun of this guy? We haven't covered any of the Fauci stuff, mostly because there's not really anything to cover. Isn't it all parody? Yeah, dude, it's all just a joke. Constantly, repeatedly expressing right-leaning talking points for the memes. Hey, by the way, my channel also parody, by the way. Please don't criticize me. This guy's grift is to pull in yoga moms and make fun of all the shit white libs do. Yeah. That's kind of the role. He fills a niche. This is diversity of tactics. What
real about this?
What is the Fauci thing anyway?
So now we're allowed to talk for real about this guy without getting censored? Huh. Okay. Let's do it. Fauci, public enemy number one or public savior number one? You be the judge. In light of Facebook's recent announcement that they'll no longer be censoring speech about the possibilities of the coronavirus being made in a lab, we're now allowed to look at the potential blood on Fauci's reptilian hands. But first, I would like to publicly condemn Facebook for lifting their ban. They're supposed to be a company dedicated to protecting the public from free speech, truth, and common sense.
Yeah, this is one of those guys. He does the Alex Jones thing where he says stuff that's so obviously, incredibly, provably, stupidly incorrect that he gets to hide everything that he says behind satire, even though he intersperses more reasonable conservative claims with the crazier ones.
Back to Fauci. Serious questions and evidence is being considered that suggests the pandemic that Dr. Fauci is advising the nation on how to handle may have been caused by Dr. Fauci.
Okay.
Let's dive in. The Wuhan lab in China was running gain-of-function research on coronaviruses. Gain-of-function research means manipulating coronaviruses so that they can infect humans more easily and become more lethal.
All right, hold on. We need to find an article on this because this guy's, I don't exactly trust this guy to be a truth teller. Snopes.com. The claim that Fauci is responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic is based in turn on speculation that NIH-funded gain-of-function research resulted in a manipulated form of the coronavirus spilling over from the Wuhan Institute of Virology and infecting the human population. To date, none of these claims have been substantiated, and Fauci has explicitly denied that the NIH funded the gain-of-function research on the coronavirus.
Obvious. Gain-of-function research means manipulating coronaviruses so that they can infect humans more easily and become more lethal.
Is he going to provide any evidence that this is what the lab was doing?
Obviously a necessary and helpful cause for the betterment of humanity. Did Fauci, who's the head of the NIH, use taxpayer money from the NIH to fund this research?
Is there any evidence?
Funding of the NIH funding of the lab in Wuhan.
Senator Paul, with all due respect, you are entirely and completely incorrect.
I, for one, believe him. Unfortunately, the evidence accidentally suggests otherwise. If you want to get technical, Fauci's NIH funded Dr. Peter Daszak at EcoHealth Alliance, who served as a middleman that then funded the Wuhan lab.
Okay, so again, I'm looking at an article right now, and it's saying there is no evidence whatsoever that... There's no evidence whatsoever that this took place. Do I need another article? Hold on. The We have not funded gain-of-function research on this virus in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. No matter how many times you say it, it didn't happen. Wade and later Carlson also argued that gain-of-function research funded by the NIH was the likely source of a laboratory leak, a hypothesis that has been contested by the broader scientific community time and time again. So where is the evidence that the NIH funded gain-of-function research? Is there any evidence of that specific thing happening? None whatsoever? Hold on. If anyone has any like articles on this that are more critical, hold on. First and foremost, it's true that the WIV was one of the many research facilities around the world dedicated to the study of coronaviruses. Keep in mind that there are a lot of coronaviruses. It's not just COVID-19. It's just a broader type of coronavirus. Coronaviruses are one of the most common viruses and were at the center of the SARS 2001 and MERS 2012 epidemics, prompting efforts led by the NIH and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and NIH to better understand their potential for a pandemic, which is fine. That's a good thing. That's what these experts should do, right? One form of research conducted at these labs included the gain-of-function research. These are experiments to increase the transmittability or virulence of pathogens to make them more infectious to humans in order to help improve understanding of disease-causing agents and how they interact with humans, as well as their potential to cause a pandemic. In other words, scientists manipulate the genetic code of viruses to change certain elements, making them either more or less dangerous to better understand how they work. But in 2014, the Obama administration called for a pause on funding such experiments, SARS and MERS viruses in particular, and launched a government-led investigation into the risks and benefits of such research. An ethical analysis white paper, wow, written by Professor Michael Selgelid, and produced by the NIH Office of Science Policy and was published in the journal Science and Engineering Ethics in 2016, argued that gain-of-function research poses risks regarding biosecurity and biosafety. Using this guidance, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services developed a framework for guiding funding decisions about the gain-of-function research, and under the recommendation of experts, the NIH lifted its pause. It's true that the WIV is located miles from where the first COVID-19 outbreak was detected, and that the facility previously received funding from the NIH via the EcoHealth Alliance Incorporated, a research organization based in New York City, as was reported on the government's website. But such international cooperation is not unusual, and funding of the lab was also provided through European, Asian, and African organizations, as well as the World Health Organization and the European Virus Archive goes global. So what I'm guessing happened then is that it's true that the American agency funded the WIV, but so did everybody else, and it wasn't funding specifically to do function research, and that there's still no connection between the WIV and the first outbreak of COVID-19, even though it took place nearby. Is that correct? To support its work, EcoHealth made sub-awards to the WIV, and the other institutions based in East Asia. Sub-awards made when the primary grant recipients and another organization to carry out part of the grantee's research project. In that case, the NIH said that it did not establish the terms of the award and that EcoHealth was directly accountable for the performance of the project. The research proposed in the grant application sought to understand how bat coronaviruses evolve naturally in the environment to become transmissible to the human population. This included studying viral diversity in bat reservoirs. Gain-of-function research studies how a virus can mutate to be more or less easy to spread. Yeah, but what I'm saying is the narrative that right-leaning people are pushing, or like, not this one, this guy, I guess, is that Fauci directly funded the gain-of-function studies for the purpose of funding the gain-of-function studies, and then either maliciously or accidentally, those containments broke and were made public. Whereas it seems what actually took place is there was just general funding being given to the WIV, and that none of it was being done specifically for gain-of-function research, and additionally, that the ways in which that funding were spent was not up to Dr. Fauci or the Health and Human Services. But we funded this. Everyone funded it. That's the point. That was the point from up here. that funding also came through European, Asian, and African organizations, as well as the World Health Organization and the European Virus Archive. The narrative that right-leaning people are pushing is that it was like Fauci who like maliciously orchestrated this and then allowed it to leak, or it just leaked and he covered it up or something like that. But I don't know if there's any substantiation of this. The application did not propose research to enhance any coronavirus to become more transmissible or virulent, added Ruth. The application was subjected to rigorous peer review and was judged to be a high priority given how SARS-CoV had already emerged in this bat population. To support its work, EcoHealth made sub-awards to the WIV and other institutions based in East Asia where coronaviruses tend to emerge and are prevalent. And according to the NIH, funds that go to sub-awardees from the primary grantee must support the research activities that were approved of and funded in the grant, which did not include gain-of-function research. There you go, folks. The funding that came from the NIH was funding that was specifically stipulated to not go towards the gain-of-function research, which they did not approve in the grant that they funded. Does that make sense? That makes sense, yes? Whenever you're talking about something like biomedical research and like global funding, there are always going to be financial ties pretty much between all organizations. That doesn't mean there's a malicious conspiracy. There's also, as far as I can tell, no evidence that the virus that actually came out was from the lab. So even if there was gain-of-function research being done and funded by the NIH, that wouldn't necessarily mean that that was what ended up getting released. Okay, anyway.
Specifically, Dr. Shi at the Wuhan lab.
Oh, I just want to say, by the way, I'm fully in favor of further investigation into this issue. I'm interested in seeing what can be done to better our understanding of this situation, because it could be useful to virologists in the future. That being said, people on the right are not interested in furthering our understanding. This is a partisan smear job against Fauci, because Fauci was critical of Lord Emperor Tyrant Donald Trump's handling of the coronavirus. That's it. If Fauci was a hardline Trump supporter who praised everything Trump did, then they would never have engaged in any of this behavior. They are explicitly doing this as part of an attack on Fauci, which is the reason why they're focusing on him rather than focusing on the broader institutions and systems that may have contributed to it. They don't give a shit about saving lives. They don't care at all about investigation or furthering our understanding. It is just about attacking. It's a witch hunt, is what it is. And that is not the context in which this is acceptable.
Dr. Shi herself has even listed Fauci as a funder of her gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab. While Fauci denies... Whoops. Didn't mean to show that headline. While Fauci denies...
Didn't mean to show that headline. Wuhan lab caught deleting files proving Fauci funding. Well, as we know, there was funding from the NIH. It just wasn't funding stipulated towards gain-of-function research. Wuhan lab caught deleting files proving Fauci funding. This is the only place I can find this is from childrenshealthdefense.org, which is and there's Jimmy Dore, I guess. In March, the Wuhan Institute of Virology deleted mentions of its collaboration with the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, directed by Dr. Anthony Fauci. It also deleted descriptions of gain-of-function research on the SARS virus. Okay, what is the evidence provided here? The defender is experiencing censorship on many social channels. Fauci denied having ever funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, this despite clear documentation proving otherwise. Where's that clear documentation? Why would you not provide that? The Great Reset is in the headline. Oh, yeah. The Great Reset is being featured here. Yeah, this is not a reputable news source. This is an anti-vax paper. The WIV deletes mentions of its collaboration with the NIH and NIAID and other American researchers from the deletes discussions. But where's the evidence of this? Is there like evidence on this? I don't see any evidence of this. I'm looking for links to the NIH funding of increase of function research back in 2014 now. The NIAID authorized GOF research, the gain of function, bypassing a review board. Oh, wait, this would actually be pretty scandalous if it took place. Bypassing a review board to fund gain of function research. But that's not all. After the moratorium was lifted in 2017, a special review board, the Potential Pandemic Pathogens Control and Oversight, was created with the DHHS to evaluate whether grants involving dangerous pathogens are worth the risks. The review board is also responsible for ensuring proper safeguards are in place for approved research. According to Rutgers University professor Richard Ebright, an NIH grant for research involving the modification of bat coronaviruses at the WIV was sneaked through because the NIAID didn't flag it for review. And here we have a Daily Caller article. Okay, what's this person's name? Richard Ebright. The National Institute of Health has systemically thwarted government oversight of dangerous pathogen research. Rutgers University professor of chemical biology Richard H. Ebright told the Daily Caller News Foundation. Let's take a look at this person, huh? Because if this person is just a random whistleblower, they shouldn't have any other history of like weird far-right conspiracy stuff, right? Called for a thorough investigation of the origin of the pandemic and for measures to reduce the risk of future pandemics. He was quoted in a Washington Post article that mischaracterized Tom Cotton's comments about the origins of coronavirus as debunked in conspiracy theory for 15 months. He said the Post admitted his views supporting the lab leak hypothesis and materially misrepresented his views, adding the watching the first rough draft of history being written as a partisan exercise rather than a journalistic exercise. Okay, so it doesn't seem like there's any weird far-right history here, which supports the credibility of his claim. Was there any evidence being provided that there was this grant that completely, like, skipped by the Ethics Review Board? Also, wouldn't the Ethics Review Board, like, oversee that? Like, how would... If you said, hey, this grant for millions of dollars was done without the oversight of the Ethics Board, couldn't the Ethics Board then, like, confirm that? Like, yeah, you're right, we didn't oversee this? Ebright said the offices of the Director for the National Institution of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, God, these mouthfuls, Christ, the sub-agency that funded EcoHealth, and the NIH have systemically thwarted, indeed systemically nullified, the HHS P3CO framework by declining to flag and forward proposals for review. Okay, so they're saying it wasn't done with oversight. It was being done through a loophole that people frequently abuse. Okay? An NIH spokesperson said its agency did not flag the EcoHealth grant for independent review by the HHS Review Committee. So it didn't receive an independent review. Does that mean that it got through and broke the rules, or does that mean there was some other non-independent review process? After careful review of the grant, the NIAID determined research in this grant was not gain-of-function research because it did not involve the enhancement of the pathogenicity or transmittability of viruses studied, the spokesperson told the DCNF. We would not submit research proposals that did not meet the definition because otherwise we would need to submit everything. So they're saying they didn't need to submit it for an independent review because it didn't involve gain-of-function research. So where's the evidence that it did involve gain-of-function research? So wait, we haven't seen any evidence of that. They said they used a loophole for it. The NIAID is committed to continuing GOF research. Lastly, Fauci is also clearly committed to continuing GOF research, seeing how the NIAID back in August 2020 announced a 5-year, $82 million investment in a new global network of centers for research in emerging infectious diseases. Peter Daszak's EcoHealth Alliance will receive $7.5 million from this grant, and planned research will include GOF-type experiments that the NIAID says will determine what genetic or other changes make animal pathogens capable of infecting humans. Okay, but that's not the same claim that was being made earlier. The earlier claim was that funding was being given specifically to the WIV through a grant that was not flagged for independent review because they said that it didn't have any GOF research in it. But now they're saying, but you are committed to GOF research because of a separate grant. But they're not saying that this grant wasn't submitted to independent review, so where's the connection? I hate going through conspiracy stuff. All that basically serves as backstory to the latest development. It's now been discovered the WIV quietly deleted all mentions of its collaboration with Fauci's NIAID, the NIH, and other American research partners from its website shortly after Fauci testified in a Senate hearing when he went head-to-head with Senator Rand Paul on mask wearing, as reported May 15, 2021 by the National Pulse. The lab's website listed 6 U.S.-based research partners: UA, UNT, EcoHealth Alliance, Harvard University, the NIH, and the United States and the National Wildlife Federation. One day later, the page was revised to contain just 2 research partners, EcoHealth Alliance and the University of Alabama. By March 23rd, EcoHealth Alliance was the sole partner remaining. EcoHealth Alliance is run by long-standing Chinese Communist Party partner, Dr. Peter Daszak, who National Pulse editor-in-chief Raheem Kassem has repeatedly claimed will be the first fall guy of the Wuhan lab debacle. What is the National Pulse? What is the impulse? Wait, hold on. What is the input of an editor-in-chief of the National Pulse have to do? Of what relevance is this? Extreme far right, mixed factual reporting. I've actually never seen the dot this far over on the right. Take a look at Breitbart, okay? I'm pretty sure Breitbart's not that far over. Yeah, Breitbart is not that far over. Breitbart is actually left-leaning compared to the National Pulse. What exactly is their editor-in-chief's opinion have to do with anything here? Okay, this is completely meaningless and actually damages the credibility of this already highly conspiratorial article significantly. Beyond establishing a working relationship between the NIH and the Wuhan Institute of Virology, now deleted posts from the site also detail studies bearing the hallmarks of gain-of-function research conducted at the Wuhan-based lab. But is there evidence that the gain-of-function research was being done through funding provided by Dr. Fauci or organizations that he supersedes? That's the link that they failed to substantiate here. That's the whole central claim. And they make statement after statement after statement about parallel claims or adjacent claims, or here's one piece of information, or here's the other piece of information. Now deleted. This is a web archive link from the WHIOV. I don't know what I'm looking at here. We're looking at a February 12th, 2022 web archive. An article from this site, this Chinese website. What is the... Sorry, 2020, not 2022. The emergence of severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, threat of cross-species contamination. Recently, Professor Zhengli Shi and Xingyi Ge from, sorry, I'm just not going to say the names, whatever, in cooperation with research from the University of North Carolina, Harvard Medical School, Belleza Institute of Microbiology, etc., examine the disease potential of a SARS-like virus, which is currently circulating in Chinese horseshoe bat populations. Using the SARS-CoV reverse genetic system, the scientists generated and characterized a chimeric virus expressed in the spike of bat coronavirus SHCCO014, just 014, in a mouse-adapted sample. The results. Is this even gain-of-function study? Is this even gain-of-function study? Yeah, this is from 2015. But the web archive is from 2020? It said they deleted emails. What does this have to do with anything? Now deleted posts from the site also details studies bearing the hallmarks of gain-of-function research. Why am I taking any of this seriously? This deleted post is from 2015. This was during America's ban on the funding of gain-of-function research. This has literally nothing to do with the conspiracy. This is nothing to do with anything. And all of this is because we're looking at a single title from a far-right website that was flashed for a quarter second on this guy's stupid YouTube video. Why?
Whoops. Didn't mean to show that headline. Well, Fauci denies funding the gain-of-function research.
Just show the headline, bro. Don't actually go into any of the information inside to show that it's completely worthless, bro.
In Wuhan, he does admit to funding the Wuhan lab, but he trusts that the Chinese Communist Party wouldn't use his funding for gain-of-function research at the very same lab. Watch as...
Wait, that is a completely different... Wait, hold on. First of all, the Chinese Communist Party does not directly control policy at the WIV, okay? They have their own system there. The CCP is powerful. It doesn't literally dictate everything that ever happens anywhere in the entire country of China, okay? Like, much in the same way that we have government organizations in the planet that aren't directly controlled by Biden, okay? It doesn't work that way. Secondly, if you stipulate funding for non-gain-of-function research, and then later it's used covertly for gain-of-function research, that's not your fault. The argument then would be that you can never fund any institution ever for any reason because they could use it illegitimately to fund projects that you wouldn't support. That is not a... That would be like saying... like you don't believe in like ever giving money to any charitable cause because they could go off and spend that money on like fucking white phosphorus for bombing children, okay? It's not how that works. When you stipulate funding for a given cause, there has to be some degree of institutional trust. I noticed, by the way, no evidence that any of the stipulated funding was actually used for gain-of-function research, but okay.
Anthony responds to Senator Kennedy.
So you don't think the Chinese would lie to you? You think all the scientists have told the truth in terms of the origin of the Wuhan virus and not been influenced by the Communist Party of China, do you?
So this is one of the reasons why you shouldn't take this conspiracy seriously at all, okay? Because it's witch hunting, all right? This is not a genuine attempt at investigating the origins of a pandemic. It's an attempt at manufacturing nationalistic bias against China because Republicans don't want Trump to be blamed. Because the more China's at fault, the less Trump appears to be at fault. That's the reason why they care, okay? What does this mean? You trust the Chinese? What does that mean? You trust the Chinese? What, all 1.4 billion of them? What do you mean? To what extent is the WIV directly susceptible to CCP policy? Like, I don't think it's not like it's a government agency and then like a Chinese Communist Party member just walks into the WIV and snaps their fingers and the WIV is like, yes sir, we'll use all the American funds for gain-of-function research, sir. Yes sir. Like, that's just not how this works, okay? It is the same argument people used when they said that the money I donated to the PCRF went to Hamas. You really trust the organization take the money? Hamas isn't going to take the money? Well, they have a perfect transparency rating and they're listed favorably by pretty much like every institution that deals with them. Yeah, but you really don't think the Hamas just going to take the money and use it for bombs? You're buying bombs for Hamas? Like, that's the level we're dealing with right here. Papega clap.
I don't have enough insight into the Communist Party in China to know the interactions between them and the scientists, sir.
Well, here's some of the
That's a completely reasonable statement, by the way. What kind of statement is, do you believe that the government of the country with the institution you're operating on is influencing the scientists at that organization to, like, what does that mean? You're basically asking Dr. Fauci if he believes in a conspiracy theory. I don't know. Can you prove it?
interactions between the Communist Party and the scientists, sir. Communist Party silences doctors over the true coronavirus origin. The Chinese Communist Party...
Oh no, I can't go over all these articles that he's just going over. Doctor... in China, silenced over true coronavirus origin. Medi claims? What is Medi claims? What does that mean? Ah, from the mirror.co.uk. What's their bias? Mirror.uk. Media bias. Let's find out. The Mirror. No, not the Daily Mirror. The mirror.co.uk? .co. I don't see the Mirror, just the Daily Mirror. Is this the Daily Mirror? Whatever. I don't care. Let's just look. Why do conservatives say COVID is harmless, but also China's using it to kill us all? Cognitive dissonance, okay? Doctors from the COVID epicenter city of Wuhan has been reportedly caught on camera admitting they were silenced about the then emerging virus in 2019. Okay, so here's the question. Were they silenced about the severity of the violence? Oh, not violence, the virus, which I totally believe. Or were they silenced over the origins because it came from the WIV? Because China definitely lied about its COVID cases right off the bat. Like 100%. Easily. In the piece, he is said to say, we were told not to speak out. Provincial leaders told the hospitals not to tell the truth. We all felt there shouldn't be any doubt about human-to-human transmission. Yeah, this article is about doctors being silenced not over the origin of the violence, but its severity and the extent to which it was transmittable from person to person. But this guy is throwing this headline up in front as though it was supporting the idea that doctors admitted to being silenced over the lab origins. Did I say violence again? That's because I'm thinking of violence right now. You guys understand? This is how people lie to you. Quickly flash headlines in front of you. Don't investigate. Don't look at them. Don't think about it. Just accept the narrative from this guy, Awaken with JP, who I'd love to have on stream, by the way. Would love to talk with this guy so he can, I don't know, he'd probably like disallow me from his cult or whatever.
The Chinese Communist Party made the whistleblowing doctor disappear. China arrests hundreds for speaking out about the coronavirus origins.
No, not origins. Speaking out about its transmittability and the rate at which it was spreading in China, not its origins. That's completely incorrect. He's just lying here. This is just a lie. Just a flat out lie.
Also worth noting that the Chinese Communist Party is currently running a genocide.
That is true.
It seems like the Chinese Communist
And that's bad.
Party doesn't have any influence over the doctors and scientists that they rule. Given that...
Hold on. China is a 1.4 billion person country. Just because the Chinese government silenced journalists and doctors with the extent of coronavirus early on did not mean they were secretly directing people at the Wuhan Institute of Virology to misuse funding given to them by international aid organizations, okay? Those are two completely separate claims. America has had journalists killed. America has had civil organizers killed. But just because somebody I like dies because they slipped on like a bump on the sidewalk doesn't mean that I get to start throwing up headlines about previous assassinations from the government and draw a conspiracy from it.
That all this information is on public display, it's understandable that Fauci doesn't understand what the interactions are like between the Chinese Communist Party and the doctors and scientists that they rule.
Because he was asked about a conspiracy theory. The narrative that the Chinese Communist Party is directing the WIV to misuse funding that was stipulated for non-gain-of-function research is a conspiracy theory. How could Dr. Fauci possibly answer that question? Dr. Fauci, do you believe in this thing over which I have absolutely no evidence but might happen? I don't know.
Over. It's also worth considering that Fauci is probably able to see trustworthiness, nobility, and honesty in the Chinese Communist Party.
What? It's funny. This guy comes off like he's some kind of free thinker. This guy is peddling hardcore, like, nationalist lines, you know? Dr. Fauci, I don't like him. He must be a CCP agent.
Because after all, he's a doctor and you're not. So it's probably better for you to trust his perspective rather than the evidence that you can see. Fauci.
Wait, so first of all of the evidence that this guy has provided so far has ended up being completely fake upon examination. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here, okay? Second of all, what was that segue? Dr. Fauci trusts the Chinese Communist Party because he's a doctor and people trust doctors? What does that even mean?
Fauci still maintains that it's very unlikely that COVID-19 was man-made in a lab and very likely came from an animal in the wild.
Yeah, because the lab research the WIV was doing on the novel coronavirus was in bats having it. That's the research they were doing it. They already know COVID did come from the bats. That was in the article that you linked. The bats are the origin. That is objectively true. The question is whether or not the virality of the coronavirus taken from the bats was amped up by the WIV, of which there is still no evidence, and no evidence of that being funded by American or by Fauci's stipulations.
More likely that this is a natural occurrence, as has happened with...
Can we just move on? Guys, we're going to be hearing about this conspiracy theory for years. Aren't you privileged to have the opportunity to debunk it live? I know that I am. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to do this, okay? Now when people bring this up in future debates, I know exactly what to say. Hey, is there any evidence that money specifically stipulated for gain-of-function research was provided to the WIV from Dr. Fauci? No? Oh, how convenient that is then.
SARS-CoV-1, where it goes from an animal reservoir to a human?
Indeed, very likely that it came from a bat. Just coincidentally in the exact same city that houses the Wuhan lab that Fauci...
Do you know why they chose the Wuhan lab? Do you know why? This is coming from one of the articles we read today. The reason why the Wuhan lab was the epicenter of the study of this coronavirus was because it was close to the bats that had the coronavirus. It wasn't random. It wasn't just such a coincidence that there happened to be the WIV right next to where the outbreak was. The WIV was the facility that was chosen because it was adjacent to populations they knew were susceptible to COVID-19 transmittability or coronavirus transmittability. It's not a coincidence. It's causal, but it's causal in the other direction. Isn't Wuhan a huge city anyway, even if it was a coincidence? Yeah, Wuhan is, hold on. Wuhan province, it's a province, I think, right? Population. Oh no, it's a capital, my bad. I thought it was a province. Wow, what beautiful architecture. Look at this building. That's just such a nice building. About 12 million? Yeah, okay, this is like a mega city, you know? Yeah, anyway.
Fauci funded that happens to be doing gain-of-function experiments on the coronavirus.
So, is there any evidence that the money Fauci provided was stipulated towards that gain-of-function research? And then follow up, is there any evidence that there was actually a COVID lab leak? Because they still haven't attempted to even prove that. Keep in mind, it wasn't just Dr. Fauci who was funding the WIV. There were facilities all over the world, remember? From Africa, from Europe, from Asia, from the WHO. Tons of money was being poured into the WIV because there was a noted risk of novel coronavirus transmission and high human transmittability. They knew this was going to happen. That's why people were putting money into this facility.
In communist China. By comparison, the SARS-1 host animal was identified within 4 months. The MERS host animal was identified within 9 months. With the current virus, no host animal has been identified after 16 months.
Isn't it the bats? Isn't the lab was studying bats? Hasn't everyone been saying it's bats? What do we mean? No, hasn't this been the narrative for ages? It's bats. He meant the specific type of bat. It's bats. It's bats. It's a combination of several creatures. Then why did he only list one creature in the previous examples?
Virus, no host animal has been identified after communist China. By comparison, the SARS-1 host animal was identified within 4 months. The MERS host animal...
He just says animal. They find the exact animal with the same virus? So you're saying that the specific subspecies with the specific strain of virus hasn't yet been identified? I was under the impression that it was like the bats have like the base virus, and then like the bat was eaten by a pig or something, and the pig had it in it, and the pig's like the biological process of the pig like made it so that the humans could get it from the bat or something like that. I think it was something like that. Even if no like specific, like hyper specific host animal has been found. Oh, like Samantha the COVID bat? Wait, do we mean the literal single host animal? Like the literal one member of the species? Is that what we're referring to? If that's the case, that seems like it'd be pretty tough to find in Wuhan, a mega city, but like patient zero? I don't know. That could have been mishandling from the Chinese Communist Party. If a virus starts to spread around, it's possible they prioritized containment over investigation, and for that reason, it was difficult for them to like investigate their way back to whatever the origin point of that was. I genuinely don't know, but I don't think this is an argument in favor of a lab leak. Yeah.
Was identified within 9 months. With the current virus, no host animal has been identified after 16 months. So it probably came from an animal. Though no animals have been found that could have passed the virus to humans, a lab has been found that could have passed the virus to humans.
No, the lab... oh my god. Dude, while no virus has been found that would go from animal to humans, the lab made it... No, the lab has been funded because it's next to the bats that had the novel... The very article that you linked had this. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind over here. That Wayback Machine link that we looked at, down here. Hold on. I need to find it. I need this. We need to find it. We need to find it again. Where was it? Please. In a now deleted page. Here we go. Yeah, web archive. Yeah. This is an article from 2015 specifically saying that bats are a vector for coronavirus that are being studied as such. You linked a source. You supplied a source which explained why the lab was here, why the lab is being funded, that this was known years before COVID-19 came to hit. They knew this. I bet you when the WIV researchers realized that COVID-19 was spreading, when they realized what it was, they smacked their heads with their hands and they said, we didn't act fast enough. If only we had had more time, if only we had had more money, we could have found a way to provide a vaccine or to otherwise like act against this before it even happened, you know? They were working to prevent this from happening. That was the whole point.
which is further evidence that it likely came from an animal. And in an act of good science, the Chinese Communist Party refuses to allow the Wuhan lab to be investigated. Further evidence that...
Is that true? China refuses to give WHO raw data on early COVID-19 cases. Is this it? Is this what we're referring to? The Chinese authorities have turned down requests to provide such data on 174 cases of COVID-19 they have identified from the early phase of the outbreak in the Chinese city of Wuhan. The investigators are part of a WHO team that this week completed a month-long mission in China aimed at determining the origins of the pandemic. What does this have to do with the Wuhan lab? That's a great question. Chinese officials and scientists provided their own extensive summaries and analysis of data on the cases, said the WHO team members. They also supplied aggregated data. But the WHO team wasn't allowed to view the raw underlying data on those retrospective studies, which could allow them to conduct their own analysis on how early and how extensively the virus began to spread in China, the team member said. It's funny that the people being denied the ability to investigate are the WHO, when Trump and I bet Awaken with JP both said that the WHO is like a CCP puppet. It's just funny. They're like the WHO kowtows to the will of the CCP, but here they are like being blocked by the CCP. Just interesting. So what does this have to do with the Wuhan Institute of Virology? Because I'm not seeing any mention of it here. I'm only seeing like early data not being provided. Like, is there anything here that I should be aware of? I mentioned Wuhan earlier. Yeah, the city. The city of Wuhan with 12 million people, not the Wuhan Institute of Virology. They literally won't allow investigator teams into the lab? Well, hold on. Won't allow a team to be investigated. I'm just looking for the headline that he provided. WIV investigation blocked? I will never type correctly. Lab leak theory, inside the fight to uncover COVID-19's origins. This is like America not wanting to release mRNA technology. Well, no, in that case, that's because America doesn't want to release it because there's like a business, there's a profit to be made in like keeping that proprietary. In this case, we're trying to find the origins of a pandemic. So this is a little different. This isn't about protecting like intellectual property. It's about... Okay. Hold on. All right, coronavirus happened and it was super cringe. Cringe. Wuhan is also home to China's foremost coronavirus research laboratory, housing one of the world's largest collections of bat samples and bat virus strains. Okay. To some people, it seemed natural to ask whether the virus causing the global pandemic had somehow leaked from one of the WIV's lag, a possibility that she had strenuously denied. So here's something that I want to make clear, by the way, really straightforward. I actually think there is a possibility of a lab leak, and I'm totally amicable to that possibility being the case, and I want people to investigate it to find out whether or not that's actually true. The problem that I have is the conspiracy baiting, the lying, which we have seen plenty of here, and the attempt to use it to fuel some sort of political or partisan agenda. Like, for example, the involvement of Fauci. The idea that Fauci was, like, deliberately funding money here to, like, secretly fuel gain-of-function research in an effort to deliberately release some pandemic. And then there are other conspiracies that China deliberately released it as part of some, like, attack on the U.S., except it hit China first. There's a ton of crazy conspiracy BS that goes into this that is completely unjustifiable. And that's the stuff that I take issue with. Now, investigating the possibility of a lab leak, that I think is totally good. The investigation is good, and I do think that China should be as transparent as possible. I'm just trying to see if they've been denied access to the WIV itself. On February 19, 2020, The Lancet published a statement that roundly rejected the lab leak hypothesis. Very nice, very cool, very, very pog. This is a very long article. Damn, we should have just read this article from the get-go. A months-long Vanity Fair investigation, interviews with more than 40 people, and a review of hundreds of pages of U.S. government documents, including internal memos, meeting minutes, etc., found the conflicts of interest hampered the U.S. investigation into COVID-19's origin at every step. In one State Department meeting, officials seeking to demand transparency from the Chinese government say they were explicitly told by colleagues not to explore the Wuhan Institute of Virology's gain-of-function research because it would bring unwelcome attention to U.S. government funding of it. Ah, interesting. So U.S. State Department officials have said there's a possibility U.S. government funding could go to it, and they don't want to examine it because that's the case. Don't pursue an investigation into the origin of COVID-19 because it would open a can of worms if it continued. This is Thomas DiNanno, former acting assistant secretary to the State Department Bureau of Arms Control, Verification, and Compliance. Is that a relevant department? No. Wrote that staff from two bureaus, his own and the Bureau of Internal Security and Nonproliferation, that is a relevant department, warned leaders not to pursue an investigation. Interesting. There are reasons to doubt the lab leak hypothesis. Okay. There's a long, lab leak simply not treated not simply as unlikely or even inaccurate, but as morally out of bounds. So I want to read more into this, but this article I think I need to read on my own. Here, I want to end this actually. I want to end this actually here because there's something I want to say that matters most to me. Okay. If you want to investigate the truth, you cannot pollute your investigation of the truth with BS, which is what the right has only been doing, okay? There has never been, on the part of the right, a sincere effort to investigate this lab leak hypothesis. From day one, it has been used as an attempt to exonerate the Trump administration, to paint this as some kind of foreign weapon that Trump had no chance of doing better against, as a way of demonizing Fauci, who, and I've had disagreements with Fauci in the past, but they have to be disagreements that are substantiated. The problem is there's no way to know what is truthful or not, and you actually pollute the real investigation for truth. Look at all of the falsehoods that we found in 5 minutes of video. Look how long it took us to find things that were objectively incorrect right off the bat. It was immediate, it was easy, blatant conspiracism, blatant nonsense. And this makes it harder. Vosh, it's called We Lie to You News. This guy is saying what he actually believes. Stop baiting the obvious. If Alex Jones had a little button up on the top right that said this is all satire, would you go like, oh dude, this is clearly a joke? It said this is all satire right there. This guy has an entire channel dedicated to conspiracism, of half like sincere adoption of terrible talking points and of anti-vax and conspiracy BS. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to get at here is that people like this make it harder to know what's actually true or not by obfuscating the actual evidence of behind like an investigation. Another example of this is QAnon. Child sex trafficking is a real problem, but anti-child sex trafficking organizations have actually come out and denounced QAnon because QAnon is so full of nonsense that it makes it harder to actually engage in anti-child sex trafficking. They make it harder for actual people to really save children's lives. And that's one of the reasons why I despise this so much. If the COVID lab leak hypothesis ends up being proved true, it does not go against anything that I have said here. Because what I have said here, first and foremost, more than anything else, is that I want people to be honest with their evidence, to not be conspiratorial. So if a non-conspiratorial investigation ends up condemning the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the CCP, Fauci even, good. I want that evidence out there. But do not lie to get there. All right, nice. Go team. Brett Weinstein's been talking about this for over a year. Brett Weinstein is a dum-dum. Ha! Got him. Let's read some donos, huh? Prinny Wesker, thank you for the incredibly kind Tier 4 sub. I really appreciate that. Hearing you read my username out loud is my fetish. Do you think they'll allow that at Pride? Maybe. Depends on how much leather you're wearing at the time. Ahsoka Bun, oh, thank you for the incredibly kind $20. I really appreciate that. Yes, Bo Burnham is certainly preferable to Tom Macdonald, though they are both British, so. Mr. Deemster and Spugpow, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Shark Snack, thank you for the very kind $10. No other songs today, comrade. We're all set up. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the very kind $10. Yeah, no cooking stream because I know I'd never make it look as good as binging with Babish, buddy. Matthew H25 with a very kind $5. Do you believe the problem in America is a left versus right issue or elites versus regular people issue? It's both. They're not, like, antithetical to each other. We need to be opposed to hierarchy, but the right is a much, much stronger advocate for hierarchy than the left is. Or, moreover, if you want to win the fight of elites versus regular people, you can't do it while conservatives have power. Saki Tanuki, thank you for the very kind $20. True! The equivalent of a conservative trigger warning is having pronouns in your bio because it lets them know that they're not going to like anything that they see in your profile. Matthew H. and Ashimniak, thank you for the $5 both. I don't know what those are in Shimniak. In yesterday's video, Officer Tatum went on to say that only 6% of white people own slaves, and the civil rights movement led to more black suffering than Jim Crow. Yep. Dude, Channing Tatum is... not Channing Tatum, I'm so sorry. Brandon Tatum is just truly on another one right there. No kink at Pride? How about no kink at YouTube? Because I'm tired of this guy's, like, race dom play on my feed. Sarah Rose and Bandit B, thank you for the $5 both. If Antifa was an organized political group, day one of required training would be not to attack fascist journalists trying to provoke the movement. True! Agreed, Babcake. Shararu, thank you for the very kind $10. Shit like this is why I'm ashamed to have an Antifa flag sometimes, lol. Yeah, some bad actors in there. Chung Wong and Sisyphus, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. Really appreciate that. 3 more months, buddy. Nipply Nips, thank you for the very kind $10. Good luck heading into finals week. I believe in all of you. Matthew H25 and Dinoman, thank you for the $5 both. Really, really appreciate that. And likewise, my... Nice try. Tatsu with the very kind $10. Really appreciate that. Hi, Jay. Good luck with medical school, okay? Good luck, buddy. I believe in you, okay? You're going to do it. Shatterbound with the very kind $15. Yes, you got to invoke your right to the fifth and remain silent. True. Very true. Flying Dutchman, thank you for the very kind $5. No chat unionizing, okay? Why are there so many linkers today? Anarcho Wiener, thank you for the very kind $12. Did you hear about JLP and his surprisingly positive pride lesbian statements today?
Lesbian. A lesbian. I like that word. Lesbian. A lesbian. I like that word.
That's true. Markinator with a very kind $5. Bad and Banana just uploaded a video on a second channel whose title is an obvious dig at you. Okay. There is really no... I am very, very limited. It's very difficult for me to express how little I think of Bad and Banana. There's not really any way. Zonia, thanks to gift the tier 1 sub. Now they can use the emotes. Ahsoka Bun O, thank you for the incredibly kind $20. My hammy June had to be put down, sadly, after 3 months of being a fighter. Heart to everyone out there. Aw, I'm sorry, comrade. Unfortunately, the Imgur link that you've given me isn't working, so I'm limited in my ability to show. Hold on, can you just post in chat? Gotta make it work. I'm trying to roundabout my way to the link. Yeah, I can't. Well, let me know if they posted in chat, folks. Oh, there they go. June, named after Shoe. Is Shoe still here? Tiny baby. Fluffy little chicken nuggy. Ooh. Little feet. Farewell, little baby. You are beautiful. Cursed with very short lives, I'm afraid. Windowby Dazzler, thank you for the very kind tier 2 sub. Getting really tired of this white name. Nicely done. You've overcome your whiteness. Jason here, thank you for the very kind $5. True. That's how you fly. IN Word, the 669, Cat Williams on cancel culture. This is a 2-minute clip. And also it went viral. You know what? All of you can watch it on your own time. It's got 2 million views. I'm sure you can find it. We have a lot of linkers to get through. You all ruined it through each other, okay? Markinator, thank you for the very kind $5. What do you think about this? This is an old link. Let's see. Let's find the contradictions. So far, Vosh has claimed to be an anarchist, a libertarian socialist, and then they say libertarian socialist again. But anarchists are a form of libertarian socialist, so that's not contradictory. A postmodernist, not a postmodernist. I think I've explicitly stated that I'm a postmodernist, haven't I? I've been clear about that, right? That I am indeed of the opinion that there are multiple narratives that describe the human experience and there's no way to form a single cohesive modernist. Yeah. So, I am a postmodernist. A market socialist, which is a type of libertarian socialism, if done properly, and, in my opinion, a transitional point towards anarchism. Okay? A revolutionary socialist. Yep, I've always been of the opinion that revolutionary action is the most reliable means towards socialism. Yes, true. A Keynesian. No? I've said that Keynesian economics are generally a good way of handling things within a market economy. And post-Keynesianism seems to improve upon the formulas here, but these are my advocacies for positions within a capitalist system. Like, you know, as long as we don't have socialism, we should probably not do like Reaganomics and maybe do like something a little bit better, you know? And then a Marxist, which I agree with many of the ideological tenets of Marx. So, yeah. This was, the funny thing is that this is trying to tell on me, but this was made by a person who's demonstrating not only an ignorance of my positions, but an ignorance of what these terms mean. This person doesn't actually know what any of these terms mean. They've just heard, like, a collection of labels. Did you know it's this is like saying, Vosh is claimed to be bi, pan, gay, queer, not straight. You know? Yep, true. Accurate bio. Infidel Castro, thank you for the very kind $5. Yes, I saw this. The store ended up getting quite a bit of hot water for this one at the hat shop, so, you know, that's good. The Queen, thank you for the very kind $5. The best free legal advice you can give. Yeah, we took a look at that. It's good stuff. And Marlon Soak with the $5. Don't talk to the police. This is a 56-minute video, but yes, you all should look at the video. Do not talk to the police. This is a good video. That's why it got so many views. It was uploaded 9 years ago. It's still true today. Go. It'll be true 100 years from now. Go. And Teaser with the very kind $5. Thoughts on this? Zizek, Chomsky, and Bernie have links to it. Progressive.international. I don't know anything about this, but if they all have links to it, then it's probably pretty cool, huh? It's also got nice colors. I like it. I'm a fan. Jammy, thank you for the 2 gifted tier 1 subs. Here's another streamer whose name starts with a V who streamed Banjo for a PCRF fund. Pepe, I guarantee this is funny. What on earth?
Oh my god, here it is. Here it is again. The H pose. The name of this corruption is the last thing you see before you die. So, I mean...
Wait. Did Vinesauce seriously do a PCRF charity stream? I didn't know that. I didn't realize that's actually super cool.
I guess it's...
Look, it says PCRF charity right there.
Oh my god.
Wait, it's a different PCRF? Ah, okay. All right, okay. Never mind. All right, well, okay, still a big coincidence.
God. That is incredible. This is so funny. Is that Banjo's foot activating the bell? I like Banjo's bedroom eyes. So Banjo starts exceedingly long.
Now this,
the more you jump,
is a real.
The more Banjo straightens out.
Banjo
back into original form.
Gameplay.
Well, I say original form.
Pretty Wesker with a very kind $5. Vosh, rate my baby. Oh my god. It's a fucking giant ass pig. Hello. I love him. Not even a little piglet, just a big honkin' meaty tube. I love him. Her? I love her. Big baby. Yeah, literal pig in a blanket. And Brandon C., thank you for the very kind $15. Love your content, thank you. Oh, well, thank you very, very much. What is this? Florida middle school suspends multiple students for fight over LGBTQ pride flag after video is shared on Twitter. What? All right. That doesn't look good. What? Okay. The kid got attacked for being non-binary? Yeah, that's what it seems to be. Cole Cynic, thank you for the very kind $10. Comrade OO, if you want to get better at art, the best thing that you can do is find some artists that you admire and try to imitate their styles. Just draw drawings other people have done. Don't trace, but draw it. Try to imitate their style. Do it as much as you can. The more you train your body to learn and try new things, the easier it'll be to produce new things on your own. Space Trireme, thank you for the very kind $10. Intentional leak is very improbable. 2020 Chinese New Year is the 25th of January, one of the most heavily traveled holidays. CCP would have picked a better time. If there was an intentional leak, why wouldn't they have leaked it in, like, America? There's no way it's an intentional leak. Unintentional leak is the farthest they're going to go there. Brandon B. and John Usglass, thank you for the $5 both. Good luck, Brandon B. Your dog Bella is a wonderful dog, and I love you, okay? Take care, all right? And maybe ease up on the heavy truck use, okay? Kaiser Draymond, thank you for the $7.50. Yeah, I have heard about that. It's extremely pog. I need to look more into it. And let me check the non-website donations, which still don't show up in the website, tragically. As long as they show up on screen. That's what matters. Corvus, thank you for the very kind $5. True, it's been ages since I played 40k. Atomic Crow and Some Young Guy, thank you for the $5 both. Really, really appreciate that. Mustahad, thank you for the $3. I'm afraid I cannot see that shitty take, my friend. Not over the Streamlabs service. I'm sure it's very shitty. Woke Ass Pussy, thank you for the very kind $10. Much appreciated. Really, really appreciate that. Sadajan, thank you for the $2 donations. Very appreciate that as well. I'll take a look at the memes soon, comrade, but probably not today. Hunger Master with the 3 consecutive $2 donations. I really appreciate that. We have done content covering all of the things you asked we do content of today, my friend. Woke Ass Pussy, thank you for the $5 additional. Really appreciate that. Haru Hiru with the $5. I'm glad that I inspired you to get into political canvassing. That's awesome. Good luck getting Mark Fincham yeeted, my friend. Hitting Hitmon Lees, thank you for the $10. Said your name, friend. At my behest. Sean Topper Harley, thank you for the $10. Yes, tragedy does often propel scientific advancement. It just seems to be what motivates people. Brandon Cavallero, Nick Kovac, Professional Life Failure, and Richard Hane, thank you for the $5 all. I really appreciate that. Nice. I'm glad you liked the Golden Dawn segment, Richard Hane. And Nick Kovac, thank you. You just found my content yesterday. I'm glad that you enjoy the stuff that I'm producing. I try my best. Dave Valensky, thank you for the $3. What the hell is wrong with TYT? I have never seen a TYT video. Still alive, thanks to the $2. It's good music. Thoughtbat, thank you for the 10 pounds. Can you briefly explain why you turn in the anarchist badge? I'm afraid I don't know what you're referring to there, so I can't really say. Adlastery, thank you for the 2 Canadian. Lore Keeper, the 17th. Dark Vent, and Casey Marlowe, thank you for the $5. All really appreciate that. Should we concealed carry arms if we're elected officials who get death threats? Yes, 100%. Absolutely. And nice, Lore Keeper. Good luck with the essay. Yugnum, thank you for the pixel replacement fees. I want to dye feet or armpits. Not really a fan of either of them, actually. I Dare You and BC4L, thank you for the $5 both. I really appreciate that. Can you make a video about the bell curve? No video I make on the bell curve will ever be in any way, shape, or form capable of reaching the quality of Sean's video on the bell curve. Yeah, where'd that hammer come from, Andy? True. Surfly, thank you for the very kind $10. Yeah, it's crazy to me that I hammer on optics harder than literally anyone on the left, but there are still people in my chat who will argue with me on it. It's mostly, by the way, because it's a live stream chat. If I just put out YouTube videos, all the stupid LARPy bullshit would be like at the very bottom of the YouTube comments where nobody would pay attention to them. But because they're in chat, they can get angry and they can spam over and over, and that makes them appear more evident. We Scheme, Nicholas Diorio, and Josh Woods, thank you for the $5 all. Really appreciate that. Maybe we can look at the Ben Shapiro video eventually, you know? Jeez. The Robot Chicken MLP, thank you for the $5. Very kind of you. Momo and the Robot Chicken MLP, again with the $10 both. I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, I can understand a lab leak, but a deliberate lab leak just does not seem likely to me at all. And yeah, the Robot Chicken MLP, people will be like, yeah, of course China would release the virus on their own population. They're communists. Like the Chinese Communist Party is some kind of irrational supervillain league or something like that, you know? God. Dumbass shit. Momo, Super Mike, thank you for the $5 both. Congrats on the dose, the second dose of the vaccine, Super Mike. That's awesome. No problem, Momo. I love you, buddy. And Juong with the $5. What do you think of El Salvador becoming the first country to make Bitcoin a form of legal currency? Godspeed to all the El Salvadorians. That's what I have to say, okay? Sheesh. Mix, thank you for the very kind $5. I promise you I'll look at your email eventually, don't worry. Cringe Leaks and Kowalski from Nebraska, thank you for the $5 both. Yes, thank you, Kowalski, for sparing me the linkers. 3 more linkers, by the way, one of whom provided 2 links. You know what? 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 We're reading these donations tomorrow. That's what we're doing. You know what? You pushed me. You linkers. You linkers. Ugh, you got me today, okay? Now we're finishing donos tomorrow, all right? I gotta go get some stuff done. Are you wearing pants? I'm wearing basketball shorts. Anyway, I love you all very much. You're wonderful people. I appreciate you tuning in for the stream. Everyone take care and have yourselves a wonderful day. I'll see you all soon, okay?